Oh, Greg.
Yeah, then I'd have to
Get Craig
actually
in here.
give you people recaps, so here he comes.
Oh dear God, who wants to do
Now recording.
Ah, here he is. All
that?
right. Now, without further ado, a 3, a 2, and a 1. Let's go.
Let's go.
Welcome back to Creatures Such as We, my ghoulish little procurement experts. Procurement. It's a word that in polite vampire society means to hunt, but not for yourself. For another vampire, for an exchange, or part of a behavior, or, as is the case tonight, to obtain the raw components for a wayward Tremere by the name of Desiree, so that she may conduct a blood magic ritual to locate Mr. O. The one lead you have, according to the Baron anyway, that may lead you right into the heart of the Camarilla conspiracy and your sires. Desiree also mentioned that she'd like to use your procurement abilities and kill two birds with one stone, essentially, and conduct an experiment to try to infuse human blood with the supernatural properties of vampire vitae. She insists that should everything go well, you'll know where to find Mr. O, and she'll have created a valuable bargaining chip that the Anarchs can leverage against the Cam invaders. Or so she thinks. You're required to obtain 4 vessels, one of each of the major blood resonances. A choleric victim, the humour of passion and anger, but one of jealousy and violence. Phlegmatic victim, the humour of those who are calm and relaxed, or those lost in reminiscing. And a sanguine victim, the humour of sex and passion, but also happiness and liveliness. A melancholy victim, the humour of sadness and the downtrodden, but also those who seek enlightenment, has already been taken care of thanks to the efforts of Robert and Barry down at the crumbling ruins of Prospector Peak in the twisting tunnels deep below where thousands of eyes glimmer hungrily. And so, we open with the rest of the coterie. Wisteria, Gil, and newcomer Aveline. You're gathered, standing in a circle in the haze of a flickering street lamp. On the street corner at the edge of the block, just after your meeting with the Baron, standing beside your vehicles and discussing the logistics of what you're to do next. Gil's already fishing his phone, a beaten-up looking old Nokia, perhaps the very same one he used decades ago in the 1990s, out of his pocket. There's a broad smile on his face as he says, yeah, sanguine, don't worry. I'll get Abby up here. I'll tell her it's a date, and she'll be here with bells on. Hang on.
Actually, and Wisteria puts out 2 fingers and puts them gently on Gil's hand. Before we take that route, something's occurred to me.
Yeah, he says, halfway through dialing her number.
Abby's your ghoul, right?
Cool, girlfriend,
Yeah, but your blood's in her, yes?
Oh yeah, shit yeah, more than blood if you get my drift.
Right. But the blood that the Tremere will be using in that blood ritual is going to have your blood in it, right?
Yeah,
If we go the Abbey route.
suppose so, he says, as his
So,
brow wrinkles and something occurs to him.
what happens if it goes weird? And your blood's in her? Could that mess with you?
Yeah, good point that, he says. Though, Desiree chick seems to know what she's doing, right? I mean, the Baron trusts her, and none of us are experts on blood sorcery, and...
That's true. But also, one more thing, and she kind of pulls Gil to the side and turns on the charm. It also occurs to me that Ava here seemed pretty confident about her ability to pull down on one of those sanguine essences.
Gil...
And it occurs to me we don't know anything about her. I want to know if she's all talk or if she can walk the walk. I'm thinking we could use this to test her, Gil. And if she fails miserably, we could always use Abby as a backup. Well,
ponders this. He just peers over your shoulder, his eyebrows raise over at Evelina, who's standing over by the car. And Evelina, you get the impression that you're being talked about. You feel your ears burn, and even before you were a vampire, this was a usual occurrence. You're quite used to that feeling of people whispering about you. Usually it's about what you're wearing, your bizarre, archaic fashion sense, or in recent years, the fact that you insist on going everywhere with a live bat perched on your shoulder. And so knowing that your new coterie mates are discussing, perhaps, some of your finer attributes, do you make a little show for them? Do you let them know that you can hear them, that you're aware that they're talking about you? Or do you just do your best to look pretty in the flickering light?
I whisper my bats a swoop.
So, there's the sound of fluttering wings, and Wisteria, before you can continue, before Gil can actually weigh in on what you've just said, you hear a loud, high-pitched shriek. And Evelina, I'd like you to go ahead and make me a Charisma plus Animal Ken roll.
Oh, good thing I can't find my dice. It's okay, I grab them. It's okay.
And don't forget, any hunger you have, replace dice in the pool with hunger dice.
Oh, I do have a hunger. 1 second. It's been a little while since we've last played, so...
it has. No rush.
No rush at all.
Charisma plus what, sorry?
Charisma plus Animal Ken, please. And Wisteria, go ahead and make me a Wits Awareness roll as well.
Ah, sure. Danger sense, I didn't do that.
Sure thing.
Probably not too much danger unless things go really wrong. Hey, welcome.
Morning.
Morning.
Or should we say good night?
Good night, indeed. We are
Little of
vampires.
this, little of that. That'll be 4 successes.
4 successes. And how did you do, Evelina?
2 successes.
2 successes. So, Wisteria, you hear the fluttering of wings, the high-pitched shriek, and you turn around just in time to see the humongous, dirty, leathery bat that rides on Aveline's shoulder, bearing down towards you. Its proportions seemingly elongated in the flickering haze of the lamplight, its wings drooping and wicked, its talons stretched out, sharp, curved, and you duck as it swoops over your head, and Aveline
Hey Zach, how you going
laughs
today?
as the bat does a pirouette in midair, circles back and lands on her shoulder, and she
Hey,
throws
Flair.
you a wicked smile, letting you and Gil know that she's very aware of the fact that you're talking about
How are
her,
you guys going?
and perhaps has taken umbrage to your suggestion that she can't walk the walk.
She gets an amused grin. I mean, look, she's got a conversation piece already. The bat gives you an advantage.
You look over at Gil, and he just shrugs. slides the phone back into the pocket, and he nods, and he says, "All right then. Well, we'll put the new girl through her paces, but I've got Abby on speed dial just in case."
No
I'm
harm
coming
in
down
having
with
an Abby
something,
on
but I'm
tap.
okay otherwise.
And with that, question turns to the logistics involved with tonight's task. You have 3 vessels to obtain. One who's passionate or angry, one who's calm or relaxed, and one who's extremely horny. But where to obtain them? Avelina seems to be ready to gather at least one of them, but from where? And will you be hunting together?
Well, Aveline, you're the one who's good at detecting essences. You know the most about them.
I
You
also
and
have a place
Barry,
we
and
can
Barry-
go to.
Yeah, I think Barry had the phlegmatic and the melancholy. Yes, so he's on that. So that leaves us the sanguine and the choleric. So, do you want to go after horny or angry first?
Oh, I'm not really fussed. Whatever you want to do.
Well,
Referring to the coterie as a show of good faith.
she exchanges a look with Gil. What do you think?
Look, chill's gonna get easier later in the night, right? People will be more relaxed, yeah? Or, well, actually, now that I think about it, if we find a pub somewhere, someone's gonna be kicking their feet up and relaxing, right?
Two
Oh, yeah.
birds, one stone.
There's probably also
Uh,
someone there to pick up, and there's also someone probably there who's drunk and lost in reminiscing.
You know, if we really wanted to be wicked, I mean, jealousy, it doesn't have to be angry, it could be jealousy. Could go after somebody who brought somebody's partner and see what that sparks.
Hey guys, just so you know, I do own the bar just down over the ridge there.
Oh, alright. Do you want... hey, if you're offering, sure.
Fucking alright. Jesus.
Lead-
Let's go.
Lead on.
And so, Avelina steps past the car that's parked on the curb, and she leads you on foot down the next block, and then the next one after that. She leads you up to the northern end of the rack. It's a place it's an area of town that you've frequented often. It's really the place to hunt for most vampires. The concentration of bars and trendy cafes and nightclubs in this section of the city is perhaps the closest thing that Buckley has to thriving nightlife. However, you've not set foot in this particular nightclub, Avelina's nightclub. Back in the 90s, it was known as the Auditorium, and it was a fairly typical nightclub for the time. An old warehouse retrofitted, dance floor installed, long metal bar, industrial decorations. But ever since Avelina got a hold of it in her earliest nights as a kindred, it's undergone a metamorphosis into something quite altogether different. What's the name of your nightclub, Avelina? Is it still the Auditorium? Or is it rechristened at some point to something else more befitting its new decor?
Nightshade.
The Black Shame. I do like that. And so, as Avelina strides into the shadow of her nightclub, you see the gleaming neon sign proclaiming it to be the Black Shame, and indeed it is very black. The facade of the warehouse has been painted in deep, inky black paint. The windows on the second floor overlooking the street have been barred and covered with wrought iron Gothic spikes. And the roof has been done up with tiny little Gothic style pointed spinneret towers. Little Gothic towers and gargoyles and battlements. It looks like a cross between a cathedral and a giant mausoleum built on the skeleton of a rusted industrial wreck. Evelina, the bouncer looks up as you approach, and he sees you coming, and he nods and winks.
Hi,
Ah,
darling.
friends tonight.
Yes, they're with me. Make sure they have everything they need.
And are they special friends? He says, letting emphasis hang on the word special.
I just nod. Give them everything they need.
Everything they need. Oh, all right. He reaches to his belt, pulls out his phone, and raises it to his ear, and barks a single order through the speaker. Procurement. Make sure they have what they need. Yeah. Separate the promising ones. Dance floor 2. Everyone else dance floor 1. And yeah. Yep. Got the boss's permission. All right. Let's do this, boys.
Good
nods
boy. She'll run her
waves you
fingers
through.
down the side of his face.
And like a cat, he seems to purr, quiver with anticipation as your finger rolls down his cheek. And then he gestures for you to step inside. Evelina, what does the black shame look like on the inside?
So, you would, as soon as you walk in, it's just a vast opening with different levels in the bottom floor, where one area is the dance floor and behind that is the DJ table with the lighting. It's all purple, black and red light. There's no other colors. To the left you would have the bar, where we would usually all sit, but we have a special bar out the back for everyone else who comes by. And then there's the stairs that go upstairs.
And how many dots in herd do you have, Evelina? Unless I'm mistaken, I think it was 3?
It is 2.
2? Please go ahead and roll 2 dice for me.
Just 2d10?
Just 2d10. No hunger involved. We're just rolling your herd background for this.
2 success.
2 successes. And so, as you all step inside the nightclub and witness Evelina's distinctive flair for decoration, you see several of the bouncers already gathered at the head of the dance floor. They're shouting something over the din of the gothic music. All right, everyone who's on Evelina's list, over this way. VIP dance floor is open. And he gestures towards a smaller chamber off to the side. There's some ticker tape and another bouncer and some velvet curtains separating it from the nightclub proper. The nightclub guarding the other chamber looks over the dance floor, sees Evelina standing in the entrance, and nods in her direction. He steps aside, removing the ticker tape, drawing the velvet curtains, and revealing another dance floor, the VIP area of the nightclub, and immediately a throng of revelers begin to move in unison from the dance floor towards it. They are Evelina's hand-picked patrons, you get the impression. And each of them is certainly promising. Just taking a quick glance at them, the beast in the back of your minds purrs in anticipation. Each of the men and women making their way to the VIP area is fit, young, and you can almost see the fresh, pungent blood pumping through their veins. Their eyes lit with excitement and anticipation, unconscious anticipation for what is to come.
It's okay. They like it. You guys ready to come through?
I'm honestly impressed. I was wondering how you were getting away with being so open and memorable, but you've set up your own little parlor here.
I have.
Yeah. Fuck.
Probably
Let's
not,
go.
probably not your
Okay.
kind of place, though, Gil.
No, I'd say Gil sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, indeed. Even now, Gil, you're feeling eyes turning, gazing upon you. The people aren't making a big deal of checking you out, but there's some people on the dance floor, and their dance moves slow just a little bit so they can glance over their shoulder at
I
you.
look over at them.
And as Evelina looks over at them, they look away, go back to what they're doing, but still, Gil stands out. Gil, would you like to do a blush of life? See if at the very least you can't do something about that sickly pale pallor that seems to glow a vibrant purple in the lights of this nightclub. Or will you simply let them look?
No, Gil's gonna blend in and take the blush of life, but get hungrier for it. He's not quite concentrating tonight.
Instantly, color flushes into your cheeks, and rather than looking unsettling and alien in this light, you begin to look a bit ethereal. You feel some of the attention melt off you. You could just be a guy who's got off work and has come to meet someone for a drink. The beast grumbles. Why pretend? Why pretend when you're just going to take one of them? When you're just going to tear them apart anyway? And indeed, you are here to hunt, but perhaps not for yourself, not yet.
Yeah, Gil takes a moment, takes a deep breath, and looks to Avelina and Wisteria, and we should go. Let's get moving.
We should. And Wisteria will use the blush herself.
Go ahead.
And not get hungry at it.
Evelina, this is your nightclub. You don't have to do the blush of life. Everyone's used to you looking quite pale. They think it's all part of the gothic cheek, but but it's up to you if you'd like to, just in case. It may make the task ahead slightly easier, knowing that your flesh is warm to the touch rather than deathly cold.
Sure.
Go ahead, rouse the blood. See if you get hungrier or not. And then
I do not.
Avelina leads the rest of you through those velvet curtains into the VIP area. She immediately raises her hand, makes a motion to the balding, overweight bartender at the very back, perhaps the sole remaining fixture from when this was the auditorium. He was young and weighed a bit less and had more hair back then. Evelina only keeps him around because there's something about him that she can't quite put her finger on that intrigues her. He immediately gets to work, pouring a drink for each of you, and as you gather around the bar and begin to sip the long, Gothic-style goblets of wine, you scout the room and narrow down your prospects. I'd like everybody to go ahead and make a wits awareness check, please.
May I do something instead?
Would you like to do?
I think I'm going to use Sense the Sin to find a couple with a member who's cheating on the other.
Very, very good idea. You may go ahead and rouse your blood and make your sense the sin roll instead.
But we should
Mean-
probably have a few people looking for the other old-fashioned way, just in case this doesn't. 4 successes.
Successes. Meanwhile, Gil and Evelina, how'd you guys go on your wits awareness?
4 successes.
4 successes?
3 success, 1 crit.
Oh, very nice. So, Wisteria, you pull the ambient darkness that lurks in the corners of the building around you like a cloak. And your mind attunes with the rhythms of sin and debauchery.
It's more about guilt, really.
And there you see him. It's like the air in the room shifts around your head and causes it to turn and stare. He's sitting in a booth on the other side of the dance floor. A man wearing an ill-fitting business suit. He sits in his booth in the corner, muttering unheard to himself, trying best to discreetly scroll through his phone, and he's sitting at just the right angle, Wisteria, that you're able to make out the logo on his screen. The logo of a dating service. A dating service that caters to those who are already married. He flicks his finger across the screen
Hey,
and then
Crimson,
hunches
how you
over his
going?
phone, looking furtively
work?
around, gazing into the dance floor. Perhaps he's waiting for somebody. Then, Gil and Wisteria, you find prospects of your own.
Gil and Aveline, yeah, probably.
Right, Gil and Aveline, you find prospects of your own. Standing out the front of the VIP area is a woman with olive skin. Sweat runs down her brow, her face is wrought in anger as she swears at the bouncer, who holds out his hand, refusing to grant her entry. He offers her a cigarette, flicking the packet open in front of her. She whips it out, sticks it in her mouth, and lights it, and then continues to let a stream of profanities fly loose. And also,
I'll be back.
we'll be back. And also, at the bar right next to Gil, is a harried-looking middle-aged man, seemingly trying to enjoy an after-work beer. But he hasn't been able to take a sip of the thing yet because he's been interrupted by a phone call, presumably from a client. Someone who's called him to discuss business when he's trying to relax, and he looks very irritated as he goes through the finer points of website design with whoever's on the other end of the phone. The bartender leans over and opens his mouth to ask if there's anything else he would like, and he snaps back, Nothing. I'm busy. I'm busy. Go away. And Avelina, with her bloodhound trait, all she has to do is sniff the air. And she confirms what you already suspect. The guy at the bar talking to a client, he's particularly phlegmatic. The woman screaming at the bouncer over at the entrance to the VIP room, well, that smells to her like a choleric resonance. And of course, the cheater off in the corner, furtively scrolling his dating app. She winks at Wisteria and she says, I don't think I need to tell you what sort of blood he's packing.
Sanguine.
Pick your poison.
Oh. Well, we could actually. 3 of them, 3 of us.
Could. It'd probably be the most efficient way to do things, but these vessels are well, they're unique. They're each in that exact emotional state that you need them in without having to do anything to push them into that state. And that tells you that you've pretty much got one shot. Say the wrong thing, rub them the wrong way, you risk shifting their resonance entirely. As Evelina said, pick your poison.
So we've got a married man looking to cheat on his wife. Probably easy to get horny. We've got a woman who's really mad. And we've got a man who's brooding, upset. What's his deal? What's phlegmatic again? Remind me.
Phlegmatic is, of course, the humour of those who are calm, relaxed, or lost in their own reminiscing. And he's currently at risk of being dragged right out of that by whoever's called him on the phone to discuss business. But he'd most dearly like to tuck into that drink and forget all about it.
You know, I was never any good at sex when I was alive. I'm not that good at it when I'm dead, so the cheetah's right out. For me, I don't really feel like dealing with an angry woman. I'll go handle the fellow who's being shaken out of his mellow.
I know exactly who I'm going to handle, and I'll walk straight over
And
to the cheetah.
that leaves Berserker Woman for you, Gil. Do you think you're up for it? All you have to do is get her to some place where we can knock her out or otherwise dope her. And Wisteria slides Gil over a packet of some knockout juice. A spiker drink or something. And
I can just wait for her to be let in, but that probably will ease the anger.
yeah, it would.
Which is unfortunate.
Sound good
Huh.
to you, Gil?
I can take that. That sounds pretty damn easy to me.
She
Right.
has to stay angry and be in a place where we can grab her without too much fuss or damage.
My office
Alright.
is just down the hall through the other room. There's a back door. You can act as a bouncer for tonight.
At this, the bartender leans over, he lowers his voice, and it's only just audible over the music. And he says, any, special friends of the mistress are, of course, welcome to use the office.
Well, I think I'll go handle the businessman before he loses his cool. We can rendezvous there when we're done.
Evelina and Gil vacate their stools and they are off into the mass of sweat and writhing flesh that is the nightclub. Gil, you cross the room and you head towards the velvet curtains and the ticker tape, and as you draw nearer, it is clear to you this woman is incensed. Approximately half of what she says is outright profanity. There's lots of fucks and cunts and things even worse than that. Some of them in very creative combinations that you've rarely heard before. The only words coming out of her mouth that aren't profanities are protestations that, no, I'm on the list. No, check again. I swear, I'm on the list, and I'll call the boss if I have to. You let me in. I want those cheap drinks. I don't give a shit if it's your job's worth. The bouncer, for his part, is just standing there, shrugging, smiling, with a smile of fake sympathy. I'm sorry. Name you gave me is not on the list. Now, when the boss lady comes in, you're welcome to speak to her, but I don't want to speak to anyone, says the lady. I want you to let me in. I've got to meet people in there. Don't you see? At this point, Gil, they both notice you approaching. The bartender looks over at you, and there's a silent plea in his eyes that says, please help. Meanwhile, the woman looks at you, curls her bottom lip, and she says, and who the fuck you meant to be?
Gil gonna square his shoulders. He looked at the bouncer and then looked at her and be like, "You causing trouble with me now," and order her on to follow him.
So you're basically trying to put across the image that, you know, you're friends with this bouncer and you'll handle her your own way. So I'll let you
Hey, Miwa, how you
either
going?
make a strength or charisma plus intimidation roll.
You know it's gonna be strength. That's only
Have a
2
good luck,
successes. So I'm gonna
Miwa.
spend a willpower to make sure that this works properly.
We'll
Good
see you
idea.
later.
Sadly, still only 2, so I'll roll with that.
All right, I'm going to roll for the bartender / woman, and that's one
Thank
success.
you for the follow on sound. How
The
you going
bartender
today?
sees your muscles under the hem of your shirt, and then he looks into your eyes, and maybe it occurs to him that you're one of Avelina's special friends, and he takes a step back, shrugs, and he says, look, if you got business with her, she's all yours." He gives another smile to the woman. He says, apologies for the mistake. My colleague here will take you up to the bar. "Fucking oath," she says, taking a drag from the cigarette and exhaling it into his face. You begin to lead her across the dance floor once again, and she says, "So, you must be new here. Haven't seen you before, but fuck, it's about time they got some bouncers that actually fucking know when to let someone in. I mean, look at me. Clearly I've got money to burn, eh? But all this pussyfooting around, umming and ahhing. Well, if you hadn't come along, I reckon I would have told him to fuck right off and spent my night elsewhere."
Play your cards right, and you won't have to. Come with me, and he'll take her to the bar. What's your drink of choice?
She smiles as she barks an order to the bartender. "Vodka on the rocks. No, put a bit of OJ in there too. And make it snappy and make sure it's fucking cold."
Cool. So as the bartender's making that, he'll subtly, because assuming the bartender's in on this gig, right, with all of them, with the special friends, he'll slide across the little vial, because she'll be looking at him and looking at the bartender, not at Gil, while she's ordering to slip it in. And then he'll play the game of, "Excellent, this is your one drink you're getting tonight. You're causing trouble for my guys. This, and you're out."
And it's on the house, of course, she says, as she takes the glass, raises it, and looks you in the eyes.
"I'll think about it. But this one drink, and you're out of this bar. I don't want to see you again tonight."
"Well, if it's one stiff, big, proper drink on the house, then maybe it was worth it," she says. "That's the service I've come to expect."
"On the house, lady, you're lucky to get this fucking thing."
You can see the pill bobbing there in the drink, sinking down to the bottom, slowly breaking apart as it dissolves, but she doesn't seem to notice. Her eyes still on yours, Gil. She raises an eyebrow, and it's clear to you that she's trying to figure out who you are. "You're new here, right?" she says. "Then you probably don't know who I am, but I swear I'm on the list, and..."
Honey, I'm not new here. I've been here a long goddamn time. You want to mess with the bouncers? You come and see me. Now, drink and get out.
Ooh, I've got special treatment, she says. And then she winks, downs the drink, the whole glass in one long gulp, and you see the dregs of the knockout pills, now little more than powder, slide down her throat with the rest of it. She lets out a long, satisfied burp, patting her stomach, and she says, ah. Now, see, I think that was almost worth it getting kicked out for that. And it was so good that you might be able to persuade me to pay for it.
Persuade you. You're paying double. You're on treatment. You're getting this.
She spits. Although she's only sort of half angry at this point. She smiles at you. Double? Well, I'm sure we can discuss this. I came here last week, you know. I spent damn near $200 on drinks. I danced the whole fucking night. And I think I'm entitled to speak to the boss or whoever's pulling your strings and get to the bottom of this mess, because that man, when he was not letting me in, that was incredibly rude.
Was it? All right. Come with me. Let's go to see the boss. You can maybe have a rant to them, eh?
She gives you a tut of self-righteous fury, and then slams the empty glass down on the bar and follows you. The bartender watches, and he gives you a shifty wink over your shoulder when you glance back at him as you step through the doorway and lead her down the narrow corridor towards Avelina's office at the back. The door is closed, and save for the faceplate with Avelina's name on it, there'd be no way to distinguish this particular door from those around it, the ones that lead to the storerooms and the toilets. But for what it's worth, the woman seems to have been here before. She strides ahead of you, makes her way to the office door, and raises her fist ready to knock. Of course, there's no one in there.
Yep, Gil will reach ahead of her to grab the handle and open it. Inside, sit down, shut up.
About time, she says. She makes her way into the cramped little office and slides into the office chair in front of the desk. She shoves a stack of papers to the side and leans over, sticking her shoulders on the desk, resting her face in her hands. She lets out a yawn. Oh, shit. Fuck, I'm feeling that drink, I tell you, she says. Did you change the brand or something? Usually it's Bacardi's. I told you I don't go in for that top shelf stuff.
Nah, you're just a lightweight. And he'll close the door and stand in front of it.
So, she says, beginning to slur her words. When should I expect Miss Aveline? She'll be very angry when she hears I've been given such a runaround, of course.
I'm sure she will, but she'll be here when she's ready. You just sit there and shut up.
Yeah, she says, yawning, burying her face in her hands, and a few seconds later she lets out a long snore. And she's
Amazing.
dead to the world.
Gil will just flick through a text to Wisteria. One down.
One down, 2 to go. Avelina.
Mm.
You make your way towards the booth opposite the dance floor. The furtive-looking man in the business suit looks up cautiously. He eyes you from behind his phone. You don't recognize him. Somehow he's made his way into the VIP area, but he's certainly not on your list, and he doesn't seem to recognize you. You watch as his eyes take you in, starting at your face, moving down your neck, taking in your chest and your waist. He winks and he says, "Well, you certainly know how to pull off the Wednesday Addams look."
It was intended for this type of bar, isn't it? No?
"I agree. I feel rather underdressed," he says, looking down at his suit. "In fact, looking around, I rather get the impression I'm not supposed to be here at all, but I was invited. I'm supposed to meet someone, but, well, they're either standing me up or their idea of a good time is to make me wait an hour."
Well, I can solve those problems for you. Evelina will sit down in the opposite seat.
Booth next to him. He opens his mouth to make a token protestation, but then he slides back in the chair, giving you space to sit down. And as you sit down, you notice swipes his finger on the screen of his phone, closing the app, and places the phone down on the table, giving you and your eclectic ensemble his full attention. "So," he says, smiling, holding out a hand, "with whom do I have the pleasure of meeting?"
Oh,
"My
yes.
name's Edwin, of course."
Well, hello, Edwin. Now, we don't really need to share names to have a fun time. I'll grab his hand and kiss it slightly.
"Go ahead, Evelina, and make me a... let's see. Make me a manipulation plus subterfuge roll."
That's a lot of dice.
Definitely.
7 successes, 2 of them are crits.
Oof.
Ooh, very nice. He has no chance. He has no idea that he has become your prey for tonight. And when confronted with your charms, both supernatural and otherwise, he's like putty in your hands. You feel his body tremble in anticipation as you kiss his hand. He lowers it, and then before you have a chance to do anything, in one swift motion, he reaches out and places the palm of his hand on the calf of your left leg.
Ooh,
You
easy
value
now.
you value discretion. I like that, he says. And, place like this, loud music, everyone paying attention to their own nightly pursuits. Yeah, I think this is just what the doctor ordered.
It doesn't have to be discreet. I have a room right over there that we can go and use.
"Oh," he says, "but what about my companion? Should she show up and this booth be vacant? Whatever would she think? Whatever would I tell her?"
Oh, you don't need to tell her anything. I'll have my people handle it. And I'll take his hand and lead him away.
He rises. You pull up and he rises with your hand, and he ums and ahs for a little bit, but it's mostly for show. "Oh, but I didn't know your people were so experienced in such matters. We all like to have a bit of fun, of course, but if the
I'll
wife
lean
at
in
home
close
were
and
to
just
find
kiss his
out,
cheek.
she might have something to say. And go ahead, Evelina."
I'll lean in close and kiss his cheek and whisper into his ear. Now, come on, there's no point in making any harsh decisions. Let's just have a little fun.
Teeters there on his feet and peers down at the phone in his hand. See him stare at the screen for a moment, and there on the home screen is a photo of a rather run-down looking, very plain blonde woman, and she's grasping in her hands a toddler, about 1 or 2. There are long lines under her eyes. She is weary, overworked, overrun. And then he slides the picture away, locks his phone, drops it into his pocket, then follows, like an obedient little boy. And where do you take him, Evelina?
To the back rooms.
To the back rooms. The bartender watches you lead him by, as he's seen this happen 1,000,000 times before, and he flashes you a smile over the man's shoulder.
I flash him a cheeky grin.
He blushes, and then turns around, immediately busying himself wiping a dirty glass clean. And you make your way down the long, narrow hallway. You see the door of your office approaching, and you can see Gil's shadow cast through the crack at the bottom of the door. You assume he's already got someone in there, so you can either take this man into the office, or you can head into one of the other little storage rooms and have him all to yourself.
In the storage room, because he wants privacy.
Carefully push open one of the doors and gesture to the room beyond. It's filled with nothing but wooden crates and cardboard boxes and folded up tables and chairs, but he doesn't seem to care. He makes his way over to one of the cardboard crates, pulls himself up onto it, and sits watching you with obvious bedroom eyes. "Oh, slumming it," he says, looking around. "I like this. Definitely a change from the old marital bed."
I'll walk up straight up to him, climb on the box on top of him, and sit right on his lap.
Whole body seems to groan, and you can feel his heartbeat. Thump, thump. You can feel the blood coursing through his veins, and you can feel something else of his rapidly engorging as it fills with blood and pokes into the underside of your leg. "So what now?" he whispers.
I'll gently kiss up his arm all the way to his neck.
And then
I hope you like this, because you're gonna have a wild time.
he just lets out a non-verbal, animalistic moan and gasps for breath.
I bite.
You bite. You can feed from him yourself, but this will, of course, mean there'll be less blood in him for Desiree to take advantage of. However, you know from experience, when you're done with your prey, they seemingly just fade into unconsciousness in the extreme ecstasy. This would definitely put him to sleep, but he would be a marked vessel. Is that fine with you?
I'm not going to bite him hard enough. I'm just going to bite him to the point of where it's too much for him.
Go ahead and
Not
make
taking blood, more like overloading him. Okay.
Yeah, overloading him with the kiss. Alright, go ahead and make me a manipulation plus, shall we say, performance check for this.
Yeah, that works. Do I need hunger for that one?
You sure do.
Yeah.
Because
You
this
can-
could go bad.
You can feel his blood vessels coursing with sustenance as you fold his flesh into your hands.
5 successes, 2 crit on the black.
Not a messy crit, thankfully. You nibble at his neck, your fang, the very tip of it piercing his skin. A single drop of blood rolls down, and you quickly lick it up. A tantalizing taste. And you so desperately want to take more. The beast urges you to forget about Desiree. Take what you need. Treat number 1, because you deserve it. But you push the beast to the back of your mind, lick that single drop of blood away and drench the fang out. As you feel his body fold, collapse in your arms as the ecstasy overwhelms him, as he throws his head back, rolls his eyes, and groans, and you whisper, "That's it, that's it." And within seconds, he's stupefied, lying on top of the wooden crate, his eyes closed, snoring softly, moaning in his sleep.
That should last him for a little while. I'm gonna yell at, "Hey, Gil!"
Gil, you're
Gil,
drawn. Go.
Look to the sleeping lady in front of him and gonna sigh and back himself out the door and hunt down Evelina.
Yeah.
Over here.
Evelina calls you into the room opposite the office, and you find her there, standing, looking down upon the man with the ill-fitting business suit. It's even more ill-fitting now. His collar's lopsided on his right, hanging off his right shoulder, and he's not quite out of it. He's in that in-between state where you're not conscious enough to realize you're rapidly drifting away, but not quite fully asleep, and could be roused.
If you want to drug him, you can, but be gentle.
Make sure he doesn't wake up, says the look in Eveline's eyes as she says that.
Gil will pull out another pill from his pocket and need something for him to drink. It's one of those effervescent ones.
Evelina fumbles around in one of the cardboard boxes and hands you a can of craft beer.
Will this do?
I guess. He'll like look somewhere to pour out half of it to make it a little bit easier, and then just break up the pill into the rest of the can.
The man gurgles as you pour it down his throat, and Evelina sits beside him, whispering, "It's okay, it's okay, shh."
Drink up, darling.
He makes one more gurgle and then lets out a long, groaning snore. And he's dead for the world, just like the woman in the other room. 2 of 3 down.
Gil nods and like thumbs up. Well done. Should we get the man a pillow? Like,
Yeah, maybe. There's a bunch of newspapers over there in the corner and some old cloth.
Gil will get a couple of newspapers and just put it over the guy's crotch. Like, wow.
We don't. I
as
look
you
at him. We don't talk about this to anyone, okay?
Hate to say it to you, but this is the first story I'm going to tell later on.
Oh God.
No mentioning of this to Abby, you hear? Actually, no, I think Gil probably would mention this to Abby, and she'd just like look forlorn at him and say, "Glad you had a good night, my love." Later on.
Aww.
And we now go to Wisteria. Wisteria, you're still seated at the bar. The other two have got up to attend to their marks, but yours is right next to you. There's an empty stool between you and him, but he's within arm's reach, and he's starting to grow impatient as he talks on the phone. No,
All right.
no, listen, there's something with the SQL. The form shouldn't... Look, I'll fix it tomorrow when I come into the office. I'm at a bar. I've got a nice drink. I just want to...
Wisteria taps
It has
his
to be done tonight. Yeah.
Wisteria taps his shoulder and holds up her phone, and on it says, "I think I need help."
Around, he stops mid-sentence. no, it'll be fine tonight. I mean, I'll come in tomorrow
She looks
and
desperate.
peers at the phone you're holding up, stops mid-sentence, reads the message upon it, and not sure what to make of it. He takes a good look at you, at Wisteria herself. And what does he see?
He sees a young woman in her 20s who's shaking a bit.
Do you have your presence active?
Not yet.
Not yet. So for now, just go ahead and make me a charisma.
That would draw the entire room, so...
Most certainly. So for now, just make me a charisma performance check, please.
Not a manipulation deception?
Oh, that. I'll let you do that. Manipulation, subterfuge.
Alright. We'll go ahead and boost.
I'll be back
I want
again.
it to
Sorry.
go smooth. Hey, I don't get hungrier. And that is 4 successes.
You see his bottom lip curl in concern as he takes a good look at you. His eyes linger on you and your body shakes. When he peers down at his phone for a second, you take the opportunity to reach up, mess up your hair so it hangs loosely around your head. And when he looks back at you, you look slightly more disheveled than you did a second ago. Yeah, hang on, Jeff, he says through the phone. Something's come up. Look, just close registrations for tonight. Refund anyone who asks for it. I'll come in tomorrow. We'll sort this out. And swipes his thumb on the phone, lowers it.
She leans in. I need to get out of here. Can you take me somewhere else, please?
Yeah, he says, reaching out with his hand to guide you up from the stool as he rises to his feet. He looks around the bustling nightclub, around the dance floor, perhaps trying to find a sign of danger. And then he leans in and he says, "Are you okay?"
It's nothing medical. It's please. She clutches his arm. I don't want to be alone, and I need some company to talk this out.
Company, he says.
You look safe. Are you safe? Please, let's go.
I'm just trying to have a relaxing night. I'm not involved in anything, but if you need help, I can sure, of course. I mean, of course I'll help.
And she takes him upstairs, takes him up to the roof.
Lead him away from the bar towards the fire escape on the other side of the dance floor. He fidgets a little bit. He looks over his shoulder at the bar. He's still clutching his drink, and he says, are you sure? I mean, if you come to the bar, I can order you a drink. We can sit and we can wait. We can call the police and we can wait for them to show. And
yes, that could work. Yes, that could work. I'm sorry. I don't really want to cause a scene.
Slides back into his... Go ahead.
You're going to think it's stupid, she says.
He gives you a look that simultaneously says, try me, and also, it can't be that bad. And then he slides back into his stool. He makes a hand motion, summoning the bartender, and he says, for the lady, what's your poison?
Rum and Coke, I think.
Rum and Coke? Rum and Coke?
Yes.
It's as you say it, you realize that something seems to be on your side tonight, as the glass he holds in his hand is also a rum and Coke. He smiles, and he says, good choice. And as the bartender slides it onto the bar, he says, now, he says, whatever's going on whatever trouble you're in. Look,
Oh, it's.
look, we
You're
can
going
just
to
have
think-
a calm drink. We can calm down and relax, and you'll be safe here as long as you're with me, okay?
Thank you. I. It's actually not. You're going to think it's stupid, but I should. I'll tell you anyway. I get overstimulated. Ever since the pandemic, I've been trying to ease myself back into peopling, you know? And just got down here, and I was trying to just have a drink and maybe find somebody to talk philosophy, talk about what it's all about, what we're doing, where we're going, just find somebody interesting to talk to, but everybody's doing so many things. I'm trying to watch them all at once. I'm sitting here wondering why I even tried. What do you think it's all about?
He gives you a commiserating smile as he takes a sip from his glass. When he lowers it, he says, "Huh, ain't that the story of my life?
Tell me about it, please.
Near on 2 years working from home, day in, day out. The only company I had was someone's voice in a Zoom call. And then finally I get the chance to go out into the world, get a nice drink and just relax and soak up the atmosphere, and what do you know? Someone needs something fixed tonight. It's like once you've let the work from home genie out of the bottle, you can't put it back in, and now what used to be a 9 to 5 job is just something I always got to be on call for. He holds out a hand. He says, "Clark."
Winsy. Wendy.
Wendy.
Sorry, I've had a few.
Wendy. Yeah, well,
And while he's taking her hand, the other one slipping the pill into his drink.
yeah, his eyes are on you. He doesn't notice as the pill drops into his drink. When you
And-
let go of his hand, he raises his glass, and before he takes another sip, he says, "So then, first, to more simpler times, huh?"
More simpler times. Everything was simpler back then. Now it's complicated. But she clinks and takes a long pull.
And he does the same, draining half the glass in a single gulp. And then he's off, reminiscing. He doesn't really seem to care much about your problem or keeping you company anymore. He's off on a long-winded tale about how he hasn't had a proper weekend in at least a month, as his Saturday nights typically involve troubleshooting or overhauling some web page or form or another, and how he spends hours fixing the tiniest little problems only for them to be miraculously broken a couple days later, necessitating the whole process to begin anew. And after a few moments, his speech begins to slur, it begins to slow. He, still looking into your eyes, lets out a long yawn.
You look like you're overstimulated now. Oh dear. Here, let me. I saw an empty couch back there. Hang on. She'll get her arm under him and walk him back toward the room.
I don't know.
Let's go talk someplace quieter.
Don't know what came over me. He said, one drink and... But I tell you, it's all those nights bloody locked in, doing nothing, and tolerance has gone down. I get out for the first drink in months, and it knocks me on my feet, and he stumbles on his feet,
Oh, easy there.
and he is...
Here, I'll get the door.
And as you push for the door, he is out, slumped in your arms. He mumbles something incoherent, and then nothing. And as you open the door, you see Gil and Evelina standing there. The woman and the man in the business suit already there, lying on top of the wooden crates, their arms and hands secured with cable ties, ready to move.
And that's 3 for 3.
That's 3 for 3.
I actually hope this one makes it out alive. I have a use for a computer man. He seems like a decent fellow. That's a rare combination.
There's a knock on the door, a short, sharp rap. You all whirl around, dreading that you're about to be caught with these 3 unconscious victims, that you're just about to move to another location. And there's a decent chance that no one will ever see them again. But you need not worry as the balding, overweight bartender shuffles into the room. There's a broad smile on his face as he takes in the scene. Ah, mistress! Work for the night done, I presume?
For now.
And, should we, expect these regulars to, return once the festivities are done?
Probably not. You may want to take them off the list.
I'll notify the bouncers immediately. He turns to leave the room. And
Wait,
best of
wait.
luck to all of you.
Wait, please. Can we try and get some help getting these to the car?
Sure. No, I think the back fire escape should be unattended at this time of night.
Perfect. Can you go grab my car and bring it around, please?
Can do. He winks. He
Thank
flashes
you.
a thumbs up as he steps out of the room and pulls the door shut behind him. And sure enough, about 10 minutes later, 3 monsters of the night glide silently through the fire escape, make their way down the narrow alleyway that separates the Black Shame from the nightclub right next to it. And 3 vessels are lowered into the boot.
And
Evelina's
Wisteria
car.
murmurs, accidentally just loud enough for her to hear. Okay, Gil, I think she can walk the walk. We're good.
I look over at him. Sorry, what?
Gil nods.
Well, that'll be it, says the bartender. Best of luck to you all, and, if there's anything else you need, well, Lady Eveline need only ask. And he bows and flourishes and tiptoes back through the fire escape.
I say goodbye and ask him to keep the VIP open for the night.
You're in the mood for seconds, or you might be, he says. Very well.
Depends if we come back.
It shall be done. And then, 4 of 4. On the opposite side of town, Barry and Robert are finishing up with their work. The shotgun the man carried has been discarded and now lies on the back seat of Barry's car. The man is unconscious. His clothes, his shirt and jacket in tatters from the thousands of ant pincers that secured him. And Barry, how do you secure this man for transport?
Oh, it'll be a classic cable tie, I reckon. And just put him in the boot. Try not to, and make sure there's enough room that he won't go kicking around my chemistry kit.
Tie off his hands and his feet with the cable ties and lower him into the boot of your car. And as Robert helps you lower him down, you see another clutch of ants vacate the cracks under his arms, the pockets of his clothing, and move as a single unit up Robert's fingers and up the sleeve of his arm. Robert, you feel Feel the hundreds of little legs, a comforting feeling as the ants take their usual spot in the folds of your skin, in the holes in your flesh, in the hollowed out, wiltering organs that litter your chest cavity. And 1,000 little voices whisper in your mind, Robert, what of the others?
Just they are with us now.
So it shall be. Barry pulls the door open, slides into the driver's seat of his car, and the engine roars to life just as Robert slides into the passenger seat. And Barry, as you watch him sit down, you see a handful of ants extricate themselves from his body, scurry away into the folds of the leather upholstery, into the cracks of the dashboard. And you wonder where they're going, what they could possibly be doing. And it's at that point, Barry, that something flashes into your head. You were entering the old mines under Prospector's Peak. You were hunting your prey, and you asked of Robert, when this is done, can we talk? Can we talk about what you've become? And here you are. You reverse out of Prospector Peak's overgrown parking lot, and the car winds its way onto a main road and silently glides past the distant city lights. Robert sits there in the passenger seat, staring straight ahead. And this is your chance, if you'd like to.
While I'm sort of struggling with what to say, how to broach the subject, I want to check in with, see if Lyra and Fern are in the back.
Glance up at the rearview mirror, and there they are, two of them. Lyra seated in Fern's lap, both of them smiling broadly. Fern winks, and he says, busy tonight, hun.
Yeah, you could say that again.
I don't like it, says Lyra, her body visibly squirming, her gaze resting on the back of Robert's head. I don't like monsters.
It's okay, hon. Hey. This is your dad's friend. Alright? He's not gonna harm you. He looks a bit, but so does your dad in a way.
She nods, and in spite of the situation, she smiles. Fern clasps a hand on her shoulder, squeezes her, and flashes you a smile. Well, don't stay out too late tonight, hun. Things to do.
This might be one of the first times anyone in the coda has ever really seen me crack an actual smile. It's really only Fern is able to do that for me anymore.
And for your part, Robert, you see Barry glance up at the rearview mirror. You see him smile, a genuine smile unlike any you've seen him make before. And you hear him talk to someone who isn't there. And you realize you're both monsters. You have the ants, and he has something else that is always with him.
Sorry about that.
All good. And with that, Barry hunches over the wheel, and the car speeds up.
Oh, I meant to say that to Robert.
Ah, to Robert, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Robert, what did you say?
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's fine.
We're quite used to talking to others who may not be there.
I don't know if I've asked you what you did before you were embraced.
Before we worked for a security company, installing cameras and things like that.
But is that really true, Robert? As you say it, instantly you know that's only what a portion of you did. Somewhere deep down inside, Robert, as much as you can still call him Robert, sure, that was his life before, but even as you say this, Robert, you hear hundreds of voices in your mind protesting that before this, they were workers, gardeners, caretakers, raisers of young. And to you, Barry, you get the impression that Robert hasn't quite answered your question. Perhaps he's incapable.
What did you do at the security company?
Barry's response almost seems to like snap him back in a moment and just, yeah.
We have no time for these trivialities. And simultaneously, hundreds of voices in Robert's head. Oh, we did lots of things. We fought valiantly. We hunted. We stockpiled. We kept safe. We built. Dug. We scurried.
We mostly helped with the installation and the maintenance of the security systems and
Well, you must have helped. Am I really speaking to Robert anymore?
yes, who else would you be speaking to?
To who? To you? Or is this a collective you?
And then... Robert?
I don't know, it's just like, yeah, it's just a moment of like, he goes to answer and then it's like, he almost seems unsure himself.
His voice catches in his throat. And your answer, Barry, is silence. A single ant scurries across the top of the steering wheel. You briefly think about swatting it, squashing it under your thumb, but it's already gone, disappearing into one of the cracks on the dashboard. And the car glides on into the night, carrying monsters. It's nearly 3 a.m, witching hour, the hour where Desiree is to conduct her ritual, the hour when, according to her, it will have the best results. And it's just shy of 3 a.m. when the coteries' vehicles roll up to Overlook Point. It's dark out here. The real darkness that you don't get in cities anymore. Black dark, where the wild rules, and you have to hope the clouds clear to let the moon light your way. The headlights of Desiree's car call out to you, a beacon in the black haze ahead, and the headlights of Wisteria's car and Barry's car and Avelina's as well paint the path ahead of you, a tight gravel road, trees looming thick on either side. Take a
There's some-
moment. Go ahead, Wisteria.
Don't forget, been a while since we played. She rented a station wagon or two for this.
That's right, her rented station wagon.
The whole kidnapping thing, you don't want to use your own. Unless,
The back of the rented station wagon pops open, and Avelina, Wisteria, and Gil each retrieve one of their vessels. And so it is that a coterie of vampires makes its way down the trail. 4 of them with unconscious people slung over their shoulders, blissfully, thankfully, unaware of unimaginable terrors they will soon be subjected to. The road ahead opens into a gravel clearing, a rest area with space for a few cars, some tables, benches, and a small public restroom. A beat-up Ford Focus is already parked here. Desiree's car, the headlights pointing down the path back the way you came. Perhaps, in another life, you'd have unpacked some meats here, fired up the barbecue. But it's cold tonight, deathly cold. That life is no longer yours, and you have an appointment to keep. Is there anything you'd like to do before you make your way out into the clearing and make yourselves known to Desiree?
just have a good look around the area.
Yeah, same.
I'll send
So-
my bat off.
You send your bat? Nice. Alright.
Ooh, eyes in the sky. Good idea.
Very good idea. You pause at the very mouth of the clearing. You can see Desiree's car, you can see its headlights, but there's no sign of Desiree herself. The rest stop is empty, devoid of life, silent, unmoving. Wisteria and Robert, you can each make a wits awareness check, as can you, Barry. You can make a wits awareness check and add your auspex for your heightened senses. And meanwhile, Avelina, you may go ahead and make charisma animal ken check.
Okay.
Best I got is 2.
2,
2.
2. 2 for the bat, 2 for the ground crew,
Sorry, wits awareness.
2 wits awareness. Oh, and Gil, feel free to roll it as well if you're taking a squiz at the area. But if
Squiz.
anyone would like
Yeah.
to do anything else, feel free to let me know. For example, if there's anything in particular you want to check out.
So that was a 7.
Ooh, yeah,
Oh.
definitely. Barry's...
Mhm.
Barry knows
This
the
is what he'd
sorts
do.
of things that can go bad at a place like this in the middle of the night. This isolated, this far
Yeah.
from the safety of the city lights.
Unfortunately.
That was a 3 from Robert.
That would make 10 for the ground crew. And Gil, are you just scanning the area like everyone else, or is there something you'd like to do before the coterie makes themselves known to Desiree?
No, Gil is completely night blind at the moment. His eyes just have not adjusted to the dark.
Very well. Still, 10 successes. Avelina's bat spreads its wings, silently rises through the air, and you watch the black shape flitter around. It's only occasionally visible on the edges of the car's headlights. few minutes later, Evelina, you hold out your hands, and Lunala perches dutifully on the end of your fingers. You slide him onto your shoulder, look him in the eyes, and through his eyes, witness what he has seen. You see the rest stop from above, through the eyes of the bat, devoid of colour. Instead, sound signatures, pings on a sonar, on a radar, telling you that Desiree is waiting just beyond the tree line at the edge of the rest stop. But she is not the only one there. Three others. Three others, silent, waiting, off in the forest, obscured, safe, in the thick overgrowth. But the bat detects them. The bat detects their bodies standing there, detects its high-pitched, shrill cries bouncing off their solid forms, alerting it to the fact that they are waiting. The rest of you, path is narrow, littered with stones and reeds and falling leaves. The rest area itself is empty, save for a most peculiar thing, save for droplets of something red, something that smells fresh and pungent to your vampiric senses, making a trail from Desiree's forward focus to the tree line at the edge of the rest stop and the trail beyond.
Hey, question, guys. Question. Were we meant to be alone? Was she meant to be alone?
I'm sure she had an escort of some sort.
Sure not three of them, though, right?
3 seems excessive with us being here. Are they with her?
They seem to be a short distance away in the thick of the forest rather than just beyond the tree line.
So they're not together.
No.
All right, Robert. Robert, we should both use obfuscation, I think. One of us accompany the others to Desiree, and one of us go alone to check out the three in the tree line. Does that sound acceptable to you?
That sounds good, yeah.
All right. I'll take the unknowns. Unless... No, you're not silent as death either. I need to learn that trick. No good Banhukim around here. I'll take the ones in the trees.
Hey, Dale, how dark is it?
Quite dark. It's 3 in the morning and you're out at some rest stop on the edge of the lake far from the city. The only source of light is the head beams from the car.
Say my eyes start to glow red.
You activate Eyes of the Beast. And as that tiny bit of light cast by the headlights is taken and magnified, as Avelina's eyes twist and warp and end up narrow and reptilian, you can see Wisteria, you can see Desiree herself crouched just beyond the tree line. She seems to be crouched over a long, thin slab of stone, but there doesn't seem to be anyone with her.
All right. Barry and Invisible Robert and Gil and Evelyn, go ahead and take the vessels up to her. I'll go scout out the folks in the tree line. I'll silence my phone and I will text you when I find something. Yes, yes. And she'll use them getting out of the car as cover to invisibly get out herself.
Wisteria, do you have Silence of Death?
Sure don't.
You don't. You only have Unseen Passage. So I'd like you to go ahead and roll me a Dexterity plus Stealth check, and you may add your Obfuscate to that as extra dice.
Right. gonna throw in a boost to dexterity and get hungrier for it anyway. This is not something to fuck around with. Dexterity, stealth. This isn't a break-in. And obfuscate. Also ghost in the machine if it matters. The dice giveth. That is almost like I'm a thief or something. 6 successes.
6 successes.
Sorry, 7.
I'll roll for the parties currently hidden within the trees, and that will be 4 successes.
Yeah, yo.
How many did you get again, Wisteria?
7.
7 to 4. Wisteria disappears. The only sign that she's even there, the sound of crunching twigs underfoot. So, Gil, Robert, Barry, Wisteria, are you all content to bring the vessels through the tree line towards Desiree?
Yeah.
Yeah, Gil will get underneath one of them and lift him up and start carrying.
Yeah. And Robert, will you be obfuscating yourself? Bearing in mind that if you wish to remain unseen, someone else will have to carry 2 victims, and that might impede them if they need their hands for something.
Would one of you be able to take 2 if we were to also obfuscate? Just keep an eye on things, make sure no one jumps out on us.
What are the
Barry
others?
just puts another one on over his other shoulder.
Strips the poor chap from the amusement park off Robert's shoulder onto his own, and Robert, go ahead, rouse the blood.
Oh, success, so I don't get hungry.
I'd like you. Do you have Silence of Death?
No.
You
I
do
need
not.
Cloak of Shadows for reasons.
Ah, yes. So go ahead. Well, you have Cloak of Shadows, so you can either stand where you are and be
Oh,
guaranteed
well, I was
to not
using
be
Unseen
seen.
Passage, but yeah.
Ah, yep. So go ahead.
Yeah.
Roll me a Dex plus Stealth plus Obfuscate.
True that.
What?
That'll be critical 6.
Critical 6.
Yeah.
Critical 6 to the other parties again, 4 successes.
Yep.
And so you make your way forwards, past the bent twigs and the overgrowth, through the trail, through a section of thick forest, until you emerge on the edge of the lake. You step out from the trees onto the shore of the Barnong wetland. It's like a sheet of obsidian against the night sky, reflecting only a little moonlight. Desiree is there, as promised, on a large stone slab, slate, you think, a couple of meters from the lake's shoreline. She's drawn a 4-pointed star and a series of arcane symbols in her own blood. She sees you arrive. Well, she sees 3 of you arrive. Smiling, she outstretches her arms, presenting the ritual site to you as if you just solved the phrase in Wheel of Fortune. And I'll be putting a picture of it in Owlbear so you can see what the slab looks like. Ah! Just on time, she says, brushing a fleck of disheveled black hair out of her face. But there's 2 of you missing. There wasn't trouble during the procurement, was there? Her face instantly twists in a look of panic.
No, you can relax. Everything's fine. They're coming.
Ah, oh, I see. She says you came separately, and yet one, two. She quickly counts the unconscious bodies that you're now lowering down onto the ground in front of the slab. 1, 2, 3, 4. One for each of the residences, I take it?
Yeah.
That'd be it.
Spends a moment inspecting them, pushing her face close to theirs, running her fingers along their necks, trying to find a pulse. And unmolested too, by the looks of it. Well, I'm impressed. The Baron said you could get things done, and, well, most people, when you task them with procurement, they can't resist taking a bite or two for themselves. Well, this is very good. It means we've got a lot to work with, she says, and her eyes are instantly gleaming, sparkling in the moonlight. The look of panic forgotten, replaced with a beaming smile. So, here's what's going to happen, she says. I've got the circle already drawn out. I've used some blood from my private reserves. She gestures towards the shore of the lake, and there you can see the unmistakable form of a dead body slumped over, face down in the water, its skin pale, its body devoid of blood. Resonance didn't matter for this one, of course, only that I could lay down the framework so that the ritual has something to bind to. Now, I'm thinking I'll attempt the experiment first, she says. See if we can't imbue all of this blood with the essence of kindred vitae, and assuming that goes well, then only a simple matter of dousing some of this blood over Mr. Rowe's handkerchief here, and the necessary incantations, and I shall have his location, not exact, mind you, but down to a city block, sure. Sound good? Any questions?
None from me.
Gil kind of looks around and shrugs. This is all friggin' Spanish to me, mate. Like, I got nothing.
Then I'll spare you the details of explaining exactly how the ritual will work. For now, I'll just ask that you stand here and you watch because, well, I'll be spilling a fair bit of blood, and while you've done a good job at securing the vessels, there's always a chance that, you know how these things go. They squirm, they try to crawl away, you know. Going to need someone to drag them back so that the work can continue, and, well, on the off chance that someone in the cam figures out what it is we're doing and happens to get to the right spot here at the right time now, well, your job is to make sure that they don't make off with our precious little experiment, or myself, I shall add. Saray lays each of the victims' hands above their heads, so that they lay within the confines of the four-pointed star. With a look of excitement on her face, she glances up at the sky to check the stars, double checks a silver wristwatch, and then produces a small, sharp, wickedly curved knife from somewhere within her cardigan. Quickly, she kneels over each of the four bodies and slits the tips of each of their forefingers and watches as the blood oozes onto the stone. It crackles like an egg on a frying pan where it touches the blood-drawn sigils on the slab. Desiree stands back, looks once more to the heavens, and now closes her eyes, her mouth moving in rapid whispers as she chants. Does anyone have any dots in occult? I know none of you have blood sorcery, but does anyone have any dots in occult?
Not from Barry.
I
Nope.
do.
Zero.
Evelina.
Mysteria is as magical as dirt.
Mm.
I have 3
Evelina.
dots.
Would you like to go ahead and roll me your intelligence plus occult? Because you're familiar enough with the concept of magic rituals that you might be able to glean some information and figure out whether this is on track to work or not.
3 successes.
3 successes. So, I'll ask you a question, Wisteria. What are you more interested in? The sigil that's drawn on the slab, or the chanting that even now Desiree whispers?
Also, you keep calling her Wisteria. Just
Sorry, I mean Desiree, yes. Yes. This always happens.
Evelina. Evelina.
Yeah, Evelina.
Alright.
What are you more interested in?
What were the options again? I heard a different name. My brain just went
sorry.
bye.
So, the slab on the sigils on the stone slab, or the chanting?
The sigils.
As Desiree chants, you kneel down and gaze upon the sigils, the strange archaic writings around the edge of the circle, the 4-pointed star, all of it drawn in fresh blood. And to your eye, it looks like an authentic blood magic ritual, although the particular layout is unfamiliar. How many dots in occult have you got,
3.
Evelina? 3. I'd say with 3 dots in occult, one thing you notice is, although you're unfamiliar with blood magic, you notice that several of the runes, the symbols, don't appear to be complete. She's written them in blood, and there are several points where the blood has simply ceased to flow, leaving small gaps, no more than a couple millimeters each, that if this was a traditional magic circle, you think might have a chance of weakening the charms or breaking the circuits.
Can I point this out to the party?
You sure can. And as you say it out loud, Desiree doesn't seem to notice. Her eyes still closed, she's whispering, chanting under her breath.
I feel like something's wrong here.
What does that mean?
What's wrong?
The sigils aren't right.
Evelina points various points at the star and at the writing, and there you can see it here and there. Some of the runes aren't complete. Some of the marks and the brush strokes don't link to each other.
Desiree.
Desiree stops chanting. She turns towards you and opens her eyes. Yes?
I'll look over to Evelina.
Is something the matter?
Evelina said the sigils aren't right.
Not right? She raises an eyebrow. Evelina, I wasn't aware you were educated in the methods and processes of blood magic. Certainly, the pyramid would be very interested to discover that piece of information. She closes her eyes again and opens her mouth to continue chanting. Do you cut her off?
I cut her off.
Evelina? She opens her eyes, and this time she looks rather annoyed. Yes?
Why are the sigils broken?
Broken, she says. She kneels down, examines the slab. The look on her face tells you she's not expecting to find anything, that she's sure of her work, but sure enough she sees sees it here and there, places where the blood hasn't quite dripped the way she meant for it to. Could I? She says, in spite of herself. Well, you know, limited amounts of blood to work with. I made sure the star was there and all of the most important moving parts. It
You have a
should
whole
work
body.
fine.
You have whole bodies of blood. None of it's been drunk. What do you mean limited?
Well, everybody eventually runs out of blood, do they not?
Logically, how many liters of blood is in a human body?
Certainly, much more than it would require to paint this sigil on the slab.
Well, you have enough blood to do the entire lot. We don't want things going wrong unless you're planning for them to go wrong.
Go ahead and make me a charisma plus persuade check, please, Evelyn.
Nice.
Three successes, one crit.
Desiree looks irritated. Very well. If you think it would increase the chances of success. She reaches into her cardigan, pulls out a glass vial full of blood, and with her forefinger rubs fresh blood into the gaps on the sigil. And I was hoping they'd be able to do this with a minimum of fuss and use that blood for other things, but well, better safe than sorry, as they always say. Now, may I continue?
I look over to the group.
Desiree, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were part of the Melbourne Chantry?
Part of, in as much as they embraced me and for a few years taught me the basics of their craft, and that was about the time I said, screw this, and threw in with the Anarchs, yes?
Right. So you're not really quite advanced at blood sorcery yourself?
Sure. There are members of the pyramids that would understand a bit better, perhaps, than I, but please, if you're implying that I'm incompetent at my own
Harry's
way
just
of
writing
life-
some notes down in his notepad.
Look, we have the chance here to do something very important and presumably put an end to this Cam Anarch brewer before it even picks up. And unless any of you happen to be experts at blood sorcery, I'll ask that you keep the observations at a minimum.
You can cut the grandstanding and just get on with it, please.
Gladly. She rolls her eyes. She continues chanting. She remains motionless, whispering for almost a minute, and then she opens her eyes and looks down expectantly at the ritual circle, frowning. Fuck, she says, sighing. She reaches down, touches one of the points of the star with her index finger, brings it up to her mouth, licks it. That didn't work. She considers for a moment. I need to concentrate more, which is very hard with all of you backseating, you understand? And we need more blood. Without looking, she holds out the knife for you to take, Barry. This time, I'll begin chanting as the blood is drawn. We're running out of time, so make no mistakes. Just slit their throats and be done with it. Let it spill.
This.
Getting squeamish, are you? She says.
Oh, I shoot off a death stare at that.
Otherwise, somebody else may take up your duties. Gil, perhaps?
Gil like raises his hands and just. Barry's got the knife.
Hold on. What do we need to kill them for?
Because quite clear, as Avelina has pointed out, she says, obviously irritated, that we do not have enough blood. There needs to be a good bit of magical power behind this ritual, and if the transmutation is to work, then we're going to need every drop of blood those mortals possess. So, when I begin to chant, you slit their throats, let it run over the sigil, and, well, I'm almost certain that'll be what we need.
Thought we already had enough blood to complete the circle.
As did I, but as you saw, this blood is still very much mortal.
What is she up to?
She's up to something.
I want to do an insight check.
Same.
Go ahead. I'd like both of you go ahead, make wits insight checks.
Am I allowed to add specs, or is that...
You may. And you may, yes, for heightened senses. And also, Robert, you're currently invisible, so I'd like you to go and make me a wits plus investigate check.
Also, have I moved up on the 3 in the woods while this is going
Yep.
on?
They're a fair
Awesome.
distance away, so we'll get to you very soon.
No worries.
4 successes on the insight check.
2
4
success, 1
successes.
crit.
2 success, 1 crit. And Robert, how'd you go?
Wits investigation, you said, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll work out that. Just 2 successes.
2 successes. Even as Desiree talks, Robert's already prowling around, moving as quietly as he can. Occasionally you hear the sound of a breaking twig, or a warping branch, or a tree leaf being crunched underfoot, but Desiree's so caught up in her indignation she doesn't even seem to notice. And Robert, beyond the slab, on the black inky edge of the shoreline, Desiree's laid out what you presume to be her ritual components. Several vials of various different coloured powders and liquids, a spindly silver instrument whose function you can only guess at, and a very thick, very old looking spell book. It's covered in rituals that you can't define, but also covered in Desiree's messy notes. The only thing you can glean from it, Robert, without any occult at all, is that she's made many notes about transmuting mortal blood to kindred blood, but hasn't made any notes, or indeed seemingly any preparations at all, for the ritual that will locate Mr. O. Meanwhile, Avelina and Barry, as you hear her go on and explain how important it is that if we can transmute this mortal blood into vitae, how we would be able to sell it, we would be able to bargain with the Cam, the Anarchs would have a position of power in the city, we would control a commodity that many would kill to lay their hands on, and we would be the ones in control of it. The way she talks with such fervor tells you instantly that if she's intending to locate Mr. O at all, it'll be a formality, something she quickly does at the very end once her experiment has been completed to her satisfaction.
Would taking a photo on my phone, will that break obfuscate, or?
I'd say it doesn't.
Yeah.
You're not touching anyone.
Yeah, as was that. Yeah, Robert finding these notes and that he'll just, obviously not wanting to break obfuscate, yeah, just like takes a few photos and the notes and then just sends those through to everyone's phone.
Barry and Gil, Your phones vibrate. You peer down and see an image on the screen sent by Robert. The spellbook, the notes, no hint at all that she's even prepared the ritual to find Mr. O. All right, Barry, says Desiree. Now, I'm going to begin on the count of 3. Start
Doesn't
with
it
that
fucking-
one there. She points at the sleeping woman. Her throat, cut. Then move on to the next one, cut. Let the blood pool in the middle. Got it?
Ugh. You're a fuck up, aren't you?
Mean, she says, glaring at you.
You know, I bet when you were running away from the Melbourne maybe you were some sort of chosen one, some sort of hyper-talented ubermensch. They'll be able to draw clothes to a war that's been raging on for generations. And now here you are. This is your big moment, right?
Yes, and well, I've clearly miscalculated the amount of blood required, but when it's flowing, when they're dead and it's all in the middle, it will work, and I guess...
Yeah, and I'll tell you another miscalculation that you've made.
Go ahead.
You miscalculated the people that got you to where you're standing right now. The people who you're staring at. We're staring at you. Fucking it all up. You know what, Desiree? I think we'll have a change of plans. It's pretty easy to procure this shit. We know that now. So let's find Mr. O first. And then whatever's left over, you can try and accomplish your pipe dream.
Glares back at you. Her gaze passes over Wisteria and Gil. And I suppose this is how you both feel as well?
Yep.
And I shall be registering my displeasure with the Baron. He said that you would get things done and you wouldn't ask questions.
Oh, feel free. We'll make sure to make our displeasure known of your inexperience.
And where are Wisteria and Robert? She says.
Right now, I don't think that's any of your concern. I think right now the thing you should be concerned about is getting our ritual done as fast as fucking possible.
Shrugs. She reaches with disdain into the folds of her cardigan, pulls out Mr. O's handkerchief. Bright yellow with a single golden unk engraved in the center. She drops it onto the slab, slashes her wrist with another little knife, sprinkles drops of her own blood over the handkerchief, and begins to chant, her voice sharp and quick. The handkerchief begins to glow a pale blue color, and she smiles. See, she says. You had nothing to worry about. And then she continues chanting. And then, Wisteria. Wisteria, I'd like you, hidden, obfuscated, to go ahead and make me a wits plus awareness roll.
All right then. We're going to willpower this. 3 successes.
3 successes. You're creeping through the thick forest, ducking under branches. stepping carefully over fallen leaves and twigs, determined to find whoever's waiting. Evelina said there were 3. The bat detected 3, but you only see 2. Wisteria. If there's a third, he's either gone or invisible. But the 2 you see have a look about them that tells you instantly that they mean trouble. The first is a man, a slender, tall man with long, black, immaculately styled hair, piercing blue eyes. He's wearing a stylish red leather jacket and jeans, and you can see the world's largest revolver jutting out from under the brim of his jacket. The white pallor of his skin instantly tells you that he's kindred, and he's just standing silently, watching, staring in the direction where you know Desiree and the coterie to be. There's someone else standing a few feet behind him, absent-mindedly staring through, up at the tree branches, up into the night sky, an impatient look on his face. This person is not kindred. You can tell that right away, and I'm going to put a picture of them up in Owlbear Rodeo for you.
Anyone got the link for that, by the way?
I'll drop it in for you right here.
Sure.
The second man is shorter, stockier, well-built. He's bald. He has the look of a skinhead, a neo-Nazi. He's wearing tight jeans and a leather biker's jacket. And around his neck, he wears a most bizarre talisman. 3 golden snakes eating each other, forming the shape of a triangle. As he absent-mindedly gazes around the area, his right hand glows with what appear to be embers of flame dancing between his fingertips.
Oh, that's agitative. She doesn't like that one bit.
He looks over at the man, the immaculately dressed man, and he says, "Come on. She's already started. Let's make a move." No, wait a second, says well-dressed man. There are only 3 of them. There are 2 more. We need to wait for them to all be assembled, and then you'll have her. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about your little vampire politics, says the neo-Nazi. I'm here to get a traitor. I'm here to bring justice to somebody who did my order a grievous harm. So either the vampires you're looking for materialize within the next 5 minutes, or there'll be no alliance, and I shall take what I'm looking for back to the Order and get what's coming to me. Mr. Well-dressed growls under his breath, fidgeting. Just another minute. Wait, we can hear her chanting. When she starts the ritual, maybe... And unbeknownst to either of them, Wisteria, you're there only feet away.
All right. So, a couple of things are going to happen. So, she reaches into her toolkit, and out comes the fast bonding glue. And she's going to quietly empty the tube into the nearest chambers of the man's revolver.
Okay. For that, I'm going to have to ask for a Dex larceny check, and you may add...
I posted that.
You may add your obfuscate because you are invisible.
Then we're going to do something sneaky to mage guy if this works. I'm assuming magical guy because mortals don't usually pack fire. Wisteria has no idea that there are mages, but you know, he might be a wizard, Harry. Who knows? Okay. So this is a larceny thing. Yes.
Sure is. Dex plus larceny plus obfuscate.
All right. Unfortunately, she's really good at this. Usually, I shouldn't say that before I do this. Glue coming in first. We're going to use a second willpower to roll out of the bestial success.
Probably very wise.
Alright. We are looking at a total of 6 successes.
6 successes? 6 successes to his 3 successes. There's no way he'd notice you there. He's too fixated on watching the tree line, trying to get a sense of what Desiree is doing, and occasionally looking over his shoulder to calm down the bald, flame-fingered man. The glue gloops into the open chambers, and within a few minutes it'll harden. Even before it's hardened, all that goop, the gun's going to have a hell of a time firing.
Might even misfire. What a shame. The second thing we're going to do is move around and place the small bar of thermite into Fiery Man's pocket. And put the little cell phone activator next to it.
Go ahead and make me another Dex larceny check, adding your obfuscate.
We'll have to go with 6 successes.
6
Getting low on
successes?
willpower.
6 successes. You swear as you creep towards the man that you shoulder check somebody hidden in the tree line, but when you look to your left, there's nobody. Continue on and slide the explosive into the man's pocket.
Not
Is
really
it
an explosive. The thermite burns fast. It's for cutting through things.
The little strip slides into his pocket, and as if he can feel its weight, as insubstantial as it is, his eyes narrow, but he doesn't look around, doesn't look in your direction. He absent-mindedly flicks a spark of flame from his index finger. It hits the ground and fizzles away in a pile of wet leaves.
And finally, Wisteria's going to move between Fire Guy, with cover in the way, move between Fire Guy and his targets, in a place where she can lock eyes with them when the time comes.
No roll required for that.
That's
You
all.
interpose yourself between him and the clearing, the lake's edge where you know Desiree and your friends are.
Oh, and she'll pull up the number for the cell phone activator on the thermite. And hover her finger over the call button.
And then she waits. Waits to see what will happen next. Back at the slab, the handkerchief is now levitating above the circle. A bright blue light emanating from its edges, engulfing the slab and Desiree and Avelina, Robert, Gil, and Barry in a bright haze. Barry, Desiree flashes you a smug smile as she snatches the floating handkerchief out of the air, and the lights instantly die. See? Nothing to worry about. I know exactly where he is. Now, the knife. The ready, please.
Location.
Must we do this? You know I'm not going to stiff you, she says.
Honestly, no, I'm not sure.
Head and make me...
There's no note of the ritual to get to find Mr. O's location, so put yourself in my position.
Go ahead and make me a charisma and either persuade or intimidate check, please, Barry.
hit.
How many?
Ooh, okay. How much is a crit again?
So a crit is a 10 on any 2 dice, and then they turn into 4 successes.
Okay, 4 successes.
4 successes. She sighs. Here then! She brandishes the handkerchief, almost pushing it into your chest. And as soon as you close your fingers around it, as soon as your fingertips touch the fabric, you can see Mr. O in your mind's eye. You can see him cowering in the back of a white panel van as it screams through the streets of northern Buckley. You can see the signs and the landmarks through the windows, and you instantly know exactly where he is. He's got a driver driving non-stop, who's somewhere in northern Atherton, right in the heart of Cam Domain, in what has become, in recent decades, Buckley's mover and shaker financial district. Your mind's eye lingers on him for a moment more, enough to ascertain that the van is doing the same route, driving the same streets over and over, keeping him moving, making sure he's not in the same place at any given time. And then you open your eyes and Desiree smiles. Did you get what you need?
I am right behind you.
I'm gonna look at my phone and see if there's a text there.
And did Wisteria send a text?
Yeah, she sent one before she started planting things.
Hi, Shio.
Kindred
How
with
you
big
going?
gun and woods. Man with fire in hands, not kindred.
And with my 7, do I know roughly where they are?
Go ahead at this point and make me
And
a
one
wits
unseen.
Make me a wits awareness check, please. And in fact, everyone may do this.
It's
Gil,
been eventful.
Evelina, and Robert as well.
Wits awareness,
Just
did
3
you say?
successes.
Wits awareness, yep.
3 for Barry.
How many for Gil and Robert?
That's a 2 for Gil.
2. And
4.
Robert? 4 for Evelina.
3 for Rob.
It's at this moment that you all hear rustling in the tree line. You whirl around to face the direction as panic once again floods Desiree's face. Oh no, she says, and then, well, what the fuck's going on here? 2 men step out from the tree line. The first, a tall, good-looking man with pale features, glassy eyes, Mr. Well-dressed. The other is shorter. This man is not one that Wisteria laid eyes on, and as he materializes, as he drops his obfuscate, you all get to see him together. He's shorter. His face looks like it's melting off his skull, and his mouth is twisted halfway around his jaw. He's holding a shotgun. Desiree, says Mr. Well-dressed. Just what the fuck have you been up to? Yeah, says the short, deformed man. Yeah, what the fuck? What the fuck you been up to? And he raises the shotgun. Excuse me.
Bless you.
And if I'm not mistaken, says Mr. Well-dressed, the rest of you are anarchs roped in to help poor Desiree here bite off more than she can chew. Such a shame.
Gotta be fucking kidding me.
How, says Desiree, how could you... I'll be the one to answer that, says a third voice, as the third man, the neo-Nazi, the one in the biker jacket, the skinhead, Even now, embers of flames dancing in his fingertips steps out through the tree line. What you call magic is nothing more than feeble attempts to push at the bounds of consensus, and those of us who truly understand how magic works need only look in the right places and follow it directly to the source.
Sorry that you had
word
to
he
deal with that,
speaks is
Shio.
bored, yet somehow patronizing at the same time. So you see, says Mr. Well-Dressed, we've come to an impasse, but don't worry. There need not be any trouble. Yeah, says the deformed Nosferatu, still leveling his shotgun. No trouble, no fucking trouble. You see, Desiree here has been on the run from the cam for quite some time, and as it turns out, there are others in
Definitely not.
Buckley who wish, for their own reasons, to have her returned to the pyramid. The bald man nods. So, let us make a deal. Let us take Desiree. Do not resist. And there need not be trouble. We'll simply take her, and you'll not hear from us again. In fact, I'll make it known to the prince and to the seneschal that you helped us and did not resist. And Seneschal Black is nothing if not appreciative of those who help him. You would be owed a boon by the cam, and that would put you in a very peculiar situation indeed for Anarchs, would it not?
You work for Black?
I work for the Seneschal, he says, as every member of the Camarilla of every faithful would. I'm doing my bit for the cause, just like you are.
Barry's going to very quickly glance at the rest of the coterie. Engage what the feeling is here.
What does Gil think?
Well, Gil can kind of see that they've been screwed around a little bit, and this woman has no idea what she's doing. And Gil's experienced that kind of thing in his mortal life, I'm sure, where someone's barked more than they can bite. And he's kind of... He looks to Barry and is like, I think we should hang around to dry. This has got nothing to do with us.
And Evelina, what do you think?
I don't think we should let them take her.
Please, says Desiree, looking from Gil to Barry to Evelina and then back at the cam and the mortal. When her eyes take in the mortal, you see her knees tremble, her entire body seems to reverberate with terror. You can't let them have me. We're Anarchs. We stick together. A fair go for every kindred in Buckley, like the Baron says, right? And now I've helped you, I've given you what you wanted from me. You can't let them take me, not these ones!
Desiree, I think it's in your best interest to shut the fuck up right now.
The phone chimes. Wisteria says, I vote no. Fuck the Camarilla and fuck Black.
Ah, yes, says Mr. Well-Dressed as he hears the phone chime. And there are two others of you, obfuscated no doubt, but that should not be a problem should you choose to resist. For our mortal friend here has his ways to sniff you out. So please, don't get the idea in your heads that you can do something funny.
Well, you seem to know everything. I take one last glance at Evelina.
What does Evelina say? And you're muted, Britt, by the way.
Don't let them take her.
Barry? Oh. Barry begins to crack that same genuine smile that he had with Fern. And he turns back to the well-dressed man. And he says, since you know everything, then you know that working for the cam, working for Black, you've made my answer a real fucking easy one.
And that's when Wisteria activates the thermite.
And that's when Barry draws the revolver.
I
Barry
change my
draws-
hands into knives.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Evelina. Roll your rouse check to activate your feral weapons. And what's Robert doing?
I guess basically just waiting to get in position for if something like this happened. He's gonna try it. He doesn't.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, that
Nos.
guy's a makes him embarrassed to be a Nosferatu, so he wants to try and disarm him.
Creep up on him, pin him down.
Take the shot.
Sure.
Yeah, like at least get the shotgun off him.
The smug-looking, well-dressed man opens his mouth and he says, "You got no idea who you're fucking with."
I take a
Bang! Several guns go off and there's another crack as the little detonator activates and the strip of thermite in the mage's pocket begins to burn, and then several voices scream as all hell breaks loose. Two revolvers go off at the same time, neither finding their mark, as suddenly an explosion rings out from the mage's pocket. He holds out his hand and seems to absorb the shockwave, but everyone else nearby is spilled off their everyone else is spilled off their feet like bowling pins hit by an ethereal ball. And as everyone scrambles for cover, there is movement all around you, the sounds of rustling leaves, snapping branches, and well-dressed man calls out, "You're fucking with Sheriff Richard Galbraith!" And as if to back him up, you hear the sound of the Nosferatu pumping the shotgun and calling out, "Yeah, fucking sheriff, fucking!" And we go to combat. So, Barry, what would you like to do?
Who is he addressing in the group? Was he addressing someone in the group, or is this?
Seems to be addressing you, and he's raising his revolver, ready to fire back.
I'm just gonna close in and go as point blank as I can with my revolver.
As you can, very well. And Evelina, what are you doing?
I'm
this
sending
round?
my my bat out to swoop and distract while I
Yeah.
run in.
And Wisteria, what are you doing?
She's going to wait for the mage to take his shot, then uncloak in front of him and stare at him with eyes of the serpent.
Bought it, nice. And Robert, how about you?
Full on.
Oh yeah, you're going for the Nosferatu, I forgot.
Yeah.
And Gil, what are you doing?
There's a mortal. He's going to go for him because he knows he can wreck this guy easily.
All right, let's go with Barry first. So Barry, you're going to close the difference and go point blank. So I'd like you to make a strength or dexterity plus athletics for me.
No worries. 4 successes.
4 successes. Very nice indeed. You're closing on him, and you think he shouldn't be much of a match, but then, with blinding speed, he raises his revolver and takes aim. For him, time has slowed to a crawl, and then bang, 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 bang! He evacuates all 6 chambers of the revolver before you're even able to close on him, using his unerring aim. However, Wisteria, go ahead and roll 6 dice for me.
Absolutely. That would be 2 successes.
2 successes. 4 of the chambers manage to evacuate their rounds, but the last two, he pulls the trigger and the gun merely clicks. So I'm going to reduce his dice pool by 2. And how many successes did you get, Barry?
4.
4? Alright, so here we go with... As he uses his unerring aim, he does not get hungrier. He raises the gun and... Thunk, 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 thunk! 4 successes. All 4 of the bullets find their mark, slamming into your chest, hitting you center mass before you've even closed the difference. And that will be 4 plus 2. That'll be 3 points of superficial damage that Barry takes. You manage to close the distance, but don't have enough time to get off a shot of your own. Not this round, at least. Next up, we have Avelina. Avelina, who's hunched over, who's smiling broadly as her fingernails twist and grow and turn into long talons. You give one silent look at Lunala, and it spreads its wings and takes off. Go ahead and make me a Charisma plus Animal Ken roll.
One success.
1 success. The bat takes to the air, but then there's another gunshot. Desiree screams as she dives behind a tree, and the bat lets out a high-pitched squeal as he darts for safety in the branches of one of the overhanging trees.
You scared
Then-
my friend.
And then, Gil, you're up. You lock eyes with the neo-Nazi, and he smiles. One hand on the Order of Hermes medallion, the other hand thrust out, a small fireball growing bigger as you lurch towards him. What's your plan for him, Gil?
Thank you for the follow today. Hope you're
As per
having an
usual,
amazing
Gil
day.
is not planning anything much at all, other than to rouse for prowess
I
and
hope you
go for the
enjoy.
throat.
Right, go ahead. Make your rouse check for me. And do you get hungrier?
Indeed, he does.
Ooh, you feel the beast roaring. Oh, this is good. Time to spill some blood. And you charge towards him. You still have to close the distance, so go ahead and make me a Dex Athletics check, please.
That's 1 success.
1 success. Alright, let me see what's going on here. I have a couple of things I need to roll, because of course if you haven't figured it out yet, this is no normal mortal. So we are working with a dice pool of 5, so dice pool... Alright, so dice pool of 10 for him that he's currently working with. That is 4 successes. Gil, as you charge towards him, you've barely even made a single step forwards before he glares at you. His eyes flash red, and he snaps his finger, and suddenly the ball of flame that was dancing through his knuckles is burning through your t-shirt, singeing your right shoulder. You take 3 points of aggravated damage as the flames begin to spread down your right arm. And I'd like you to go ahead and make a willpower plus a resolve plus willpower plus a third of your humanity roll for me, please. To see if you get a terror frenzy going.
So that was resolve plus willpower plus a third of humanity.
Plus a third of your humanity, rounded down.
Is it taking hunger into account?
Nah, it's a terror
No.
frenzy. Nah, this is a frenzy roll, so no hunger.
That's 2 successes.
2 successes. Gil, you feel your skin burning, squirming, grinded away to dust. You, with a great roar, wrench your t-shirt off, toss it to the side, and stamp on the flames before your beast hijacks your senses, and you find yourself without any influence under your own control, turning and sprinting back towards the trail, back towards the rest area, letting out an animalistic cry.
Oh, that's bad.
Run, run, screams the beast in your mind. Run or burn or die! And the mage simply smiles. And Wisteria, he's made his move though.
Oh. As she materializes, all eyes drawn to her, all full active, as her eyes turns gold and slit-colored. Sorry, slitted and gold-colored words. We're going to see if we can land this.
Go ahead, roll me a charisma plus presence, and he'll contest it with his wits plus composure.
He's been pretty composed, so we'll go ahead and boost to see if we can get yes. A little more. Oh, that's looking pretty good. We'll go down another willpower to make it better, though. 8 successes.
8 successes? 8 successes to his 6 successes. He holds up his hand. You see a single spark light on the tip of his finger, and then his
Look
eyes
at
widen.
me, you
and
naughty
he's-
little man.
He's rooted to the spot, gritting his teeth with frustration, even now as the stick of thermite burns in his jeans pocket. You see his left hand twitch, try to reach down to rip it out to absorb the flames, but he cannot move. And he takes a point of aggravated damage as it begins to burn. He grits his teeth and winces in pain. And then, Savoy, the Nosferatu, raises his gun and he says, yeah, I got ya, and raises his gun to fire just as Robert pounces. Robert, I've allowed you to get the drop on him without rolling because you're invisible, but now's the moment of truth. Go ahead, roll me strength brawl.
I'm still pretty low on blood, so I'm just gonna boost strength first. Oh, success, I don't get hungry. Yeah, I'm gonna willpower that. See if I can get any better. It's only 2 successes.
2 successes. 2 successes to his 3 successes.
Damn.
Yeah, take that! Fuck you! He shouts as he fires the shotgun, and Wisteria, you take
Oh,
4.
Oh,
You
boy.
take 6 points of superficial damage, halved to 3.
Ouch.
As the shotgun shells spray you with their stinging gunpowder and buckshot. But then you hear Savoy scream as Robert pounces on him and crack! Slams his fist into the side of his head, dealing 2 points of superficial damage. Hey, fuck off! Shouts Savoy, and he takes one look up into Robert's face. And understanding dawns, his eyes glimmer. Rudy's brat. Oh, he'll reward me, so should I bring you to him? And then we move to the next round. Barry, you're up. What would you like to do? You're reeling from the 3 bullets you've just taken, but you've closed the distance. Barry, sorry, you might be muted.
Ah, sorry. Has Evelina gone yet?
Evelina hasn't gone yet. It's your turn now. You've closed the distance, but you're still reeling from those 4 bullets you took to the chest, but he is within range. If you want to keep up with your plan and go point blank, you may feel free.
Yeah. Oh, I wonder if I can get him into a classic cop hold and just try and disarm him, disable him.
Could try that. Go ahead and make me a strength or dexterity plus brawl check.
Okay. And would my lethal body apply here?
I'd say, well, he's not wearing armor, but I'll let you add 1 extra dice to the pool for your lethal
Okay.
body.
But I gotta do a hunger check. Success on the hunger check. Oh boy.
Hungry.
Oh yeah. Let's go with 7 successes with 1 crit.
7 successes. He whirls around, once again rousing his blood to go for an unerring aim. Moving as a blur within the span of a second, he slides more rounds into the chamber, slides it in and fires. Bang, bang! But it's only 2 successes this time. He will willpower that, however. How many successes did you get, Barry?
7.
7. The max he can achieve is 4 successes, and once again he fires off all 4 rounds in quick succession. You duck as the bullets whiz over your shoulder, grab him, pull him down to the ground and pin him, wrenching the revolver out of his fingers, and as he hisses and struggles, tossing it away through the tree line. You have him at your mercy, Barry. What would you like to do?
Did you fucking know what danger you were in? Did you know who the fuck you were messing with?
And I'm just going to, like, point blank revolver in the face and bang.
Bang! That'll be 3 points of superficial damage right to him. You don't even need to roll it. The bullets tear his jaw apart. The jawbone hangs. Flesh drops onto the ground and he screams. The sheriff ain't nothing, you think. Evelina, what would you like to do? Your bat scurried for cover, but your talons are extended and active and ready to go.
They scared my friend. I don't like that. I'm running straight in.
And who are you going for?
Whatever
currently
one is
have-
closest to me.
Well, I'd say the Nosferatu Savoy is closest. However, the mage is currently frozen to the spot by Wisteria, and the other vampire, the Mr. Well-Dressed, is pinned to the ground, squirming and screaming under Barry. So, do you want to charge to the Nos and help Robert with that, or do you want to help Wisteria with the mage?
I will help. I'll get the Noz.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you fucking red fox will give me fucking something to eat if I bring you in.
Shouts Savoy, trying to get a bead on Robert, who's got his arms around him, trying to pull him out of the way. And he doesn't see. He is in no way prepared for Avelina, who comes charging up, and her talon flashes in the moonlight. Avelina, go ahead and make me a strength brawl check, please.
3 successes, 1 crit.
3 successes, 1 crit. Would you like to willpower that?
Yes.
Probably a good idea. Go ahead. And how much do we end up getting? Avelina, how many successes after the willpower?
4 successes, 1 crit.
4 successes, 1 crit. That matches his 4 successes. You rush forwards, and as you slash your talon at his neck, he squirms. He ducks through Robert's arms and scrambles towards you, swinging the butt of the revolver like a club to knock you out of the way. And you take a point of superficial damage, but so does he, as the tip of your talon grazes his right cheek, tearing it away, revealing the disjointed bone underneath.
She's feisty, she is, you fucking bitch.
He grumbles to himself. And then, Robert, you're up. He's pulled away from you, he has his back turned from you, he's focusing on Aveline. What would you like to do?
So at the mention of like, oh, Rudy's brat, and it just sort of like looks to whoever's around, just we need him alive. He might know things. And then in saying that, it's going to pull out his pistol and try and fire into his back.
Ooh, very nice. Go ahead, roll me a composure plus firearms. He will defend against it, but with 1 dice less, because he's already defended against Avelina. Straight dex for him, it seems.
I'm gonna just buff composure. Failure, so I get hungrier.
All good.
Well, it still only brings me up to 2.
2 successes altogether?
Oh no,
hunger,
brings me
yeah.
up to 2 hunger. Yeah.
Hunger, yeah. That's good. This hunger will carry over to the next story, because the next story takes place the very next night after this one.
That's about as good as I can do. That'll be 3 successes.
3 successes? You're in
Hey,
luck.
Burger, how you
Total
going?
failure from him.
Yeah.
Even after he willpowered it, he went from 1 success to total failure from his willpower reroll.
Yes.
And he doesn't even hear you cock the gun. He's laughing, wrestling with Aveline.
Hey, pretty bitch, I'll wreck your face, I will, my pretty. Fuck.
And then,
How
bang!
would you simply shut up?
Bang! Robert's gun rings out through the clearing, and the bullet finds its home right at the base of Savoy's neck. How many successes was that, Robert?
3.
3 plus 2. He takes 3 points of superficial damage and drops to the ground, gasping for pain. And then, Wisteria, what would you like to do?
I'm going to keep staring at him, and she's going to sweetly say, Desiree, dear,
Hope
you
you're
should
having a good
probably
day,
kill
Burger.
him before this wears off. Quickly.
You're keeping him held. You see
Oh,
Desiree
yes.
poking her forehead out from behind a gnarled-looking tree. Her whole face is white, her eyes are wide with panic. Are you crazy? She calls. I'm not going anywhere near him!
Then why should I save you from him if you won't fight for yourself? Are you an anarch or you're a cosplayer?
Go ahead, Wisteria. Make me a charisma plus leadership.
I
or
actually have a point in
intimidate
that.
roll.
Let's fucking go.
And I did boost charisma, and I've got awe going. That's good for 4 successes.
4 successes. The battle rages on, people shooting at each other. Nosferatu grappling with Avelina while Robert takes pot shots. The well-dressed sheriff groaning under Barry's raging form. And what of Gil? Gil, you're currently in the midst of a terror frenzy. What does this look like?
I imagine kind of terrifying. Fangs bared, muscles rippling. He's topless at the moment, so he is in the midst of a screaming rage fit.
Probably like barreling straight through trees, snapping the trunks in twain as he charges through.
Yeah.
In this moment, you
Nice.
all hear Gil's strangled scream from somewhere in the trees. And in spite of himself, in spite of the fact that he cannot move, the mage chances a smile. Nothing. You are nothing. Engines of entropy, nothing more. You collapse under your own weight.
Is there any chance I could
Entropy.
spend a willpower to try and get out of this?
You can spend a willpower if you feel you'd like to. The others do seem to have it fairly well in hand.
Yeah, he doesn't quite know that though.
Yeah.
So I'll spend a willpower to get or try to
Yep.
get back in control.
Gil lets out another howl, and the beast says, "Spill their blood! Spill their blood!" as he turns and charges off back towards the battle. He'll arrive next round. Desiree screws up her face in concentration, and as the mage's body begins to vibrate, as he grits his teeth and fights with all his willpower to extract himself from the eyes of the serpent, Desiree steps out. She looks him in the eyes, and she says, "I know real magic. If this isn't real, then this shouldn't hurt, should it? Let's see your precious consensus deal with this." And she spits at him much in the way someone would spit in disgust at a squirming insect. But she spits blood, and the blood lands on his right cheek, and as it does, you hear a sizzling sound as his skin begins to twist and burn as Desiree's acidic blood eats through it. He opens his mouth and screams. Wisteria, I'd like you to repeat your Eyes of the Serpent check, please.
With pleasure and hope. 4. That's charisma plus presence, right? Okay.
Charisma plus presence.
Charisma plus presence plus awe.
Yeah, definitely, if you've got that active.
Oh yeah. She only does a few things, but she does them well. That'll be 7. There'll be 7 successes.
7 successes. Alright, he's rolling. He's rolling, and as a mage, he has the ability to
Oh,
spend willpower and convert them into instant successes. So he's going to spend 3 of the 4 willpower points he has to add 3 instant successes
blame
to
him.
his
Go
pool,
big or go home.
leaving him with 9 successes altogether. He squirms, and finally his body moves. He glares at Desiree, grits his teeth, raises his hand, and you know what's going to come next. But then another gunshot rings out, and you hear Gil scream somewhere off in the distance. The mage looks at the chaos unfolding around him, and he barks an order. "Handle this!" And then he waves his hand and disappears. Gone. as if he were never there.
Mysteria slumps on the ground, sweating blood. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God.
Burning bits of cordite drop from
Hi, Crazy.
where
How
he
you
was
going?
standing
Welcome.
down to the ground. The
Thank you for the
embers
follow. Hope you're
flickering
having a good day.
and dying, and his scream of pain lingering for just half a second longer after he disappears. All right, Gil. Gil, you come charging through the tree line. You see the Nosferatu outnumbered. His shotgun waving back and forth between Avelina, who's charging at him with her talon, and Robert, who's returning fire with his own weapon. In the scrub, a short distance behind them, you see someone, presumably Mr. Well-Dressed, squirming underneath Barry, who's got him pinned to the ground.
There's still a shotgun being waved. Gil will, in extreme anger, disarm him, and by disarm him, I mean take off his arm.
Go ahead, and Avelina, I presume, as you see Gil come charging out of the forest, and you see Savoy, the Nosferatu's eyes grow slightly wider, and reposition his shotgun to get a shot off, and shout, "Hey, the burning one's back! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!" Are you gonna charge at him with your talon as well?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So Avelina and Gil, I'd like you both to make strength brawl checks for me, please.
For success.
For success. And Gil, how'd you go? Gonna get disarmed. Well, assuming you disarm him, this will hurt. Gil, how many on your strength brawl check? You might be muted.
No, sorry, the bot doesn't like me today.
They do that sometimes. I know, sometimes you type it in and it just doesn't roll. It's weird. I'll give you a link you can use in case it doesn't, there we go. Try this if the bot still won't get its job done. And also, Robert, I'd like you to go ahead and roll. Would you like to shoot him, or are you going to wait for them to attack him and see if maybe you can be the one to stake him?
I think, yeah, seeing that those two seem to be doing a decent job of messing him up, yeah, he'll just wait for a moment till he's weakened, and then, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So how many did you get, Efudure? Sorry, not Efudure. Avelina, that's her D&D character. That was 4 successes, I believe.
Yes, 4.
4. And Gil, how'd you go? He's gonna kick the... So I'll roll for his defense against Avelina, and that's going to be 1 success. Here we go.
Net just dropped suddenly.
Yeah, that's probably why the bot wasn't listening, I'd say. But you're back.
Yeah.
Now you could roll to see just how badly you're messing him up.
I've got 6 successes, but I'm going to spend my last willpower because I think this is important.
That will impair you because you're full of superficial willpower damage, but this is a physical roll, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, total of 7 successes.
Total of 7. He's going to defend. He already defended against Avelina, so 1 less dice. So that was 1 success against Avelina and total failure against Gil. So here's what happens. Gil comes charging in. The shotgun goes off just as Gil knocks it out of the way. It clatters to the ground, and Gil grabs the hand that was grasping the shotgun and pulls, letting out a great yell. In your head, your beast is screaming, spill blood, tear him apart. And then there's a sickening crack and the Nosferatu's arm snaps right off. He screams in pain as Adelina closes the distance and brings her talon across his neck.
I was
That
going to
would
say
be-
something much worse than that.
Oh,
but
go
I-
ahead. What would you like to do, Evelina?
I was going to disembowel him.
Disembowel him. The
Mhm.
talon goes in quick, sharp, like a knife, into his gut, pulls out, and a long stretch of decaying, liquefying intestine rolls out onto the ground. Savoy gasps and groans as he's knocked down to 1 health point remaining after taking all that aggravated damage, and he is impaired. Robert, what would you like to do?
Yeah. Go in for the stake.
Robert reaches into the folds of his cloak, feels the ants scurry away from his fingertips, and he pulls out the harpoon gun. Kezia's harpoon gun, and it's about to be used for the first time in 30 years.
Yeah.
You raise it, aim down the sights, and as Savoy squirms, as he shouts and screams and tries to pile his intestines back into the gap, as he shouts, fucking bitch, fucking bitch, fucking bitch, bitch, bitch. Your finger tightens on the trigger. Go ahead, roll me a
Yes.
composure plus firearms.
Yes, you are.
Boosted. Let's risk a reroll.
Boy has 1 dot of composure, not 0, but yeah, still pretty low.
This is our surprise.
Bah.
Oh, wait, the other thing.
He's a hatchet man, basically, and that's all what he's good for.
Yeah. That's 2 successes.
2 successes. Well, he's currently trying to pull his talons back, pull his intestines back together. So I'm going to subtract another dice from his pool, leaving him with 1 success. 1 success for your 2 successes. He whirls around, wrenches himself free of both Gil and Avelina just in time to hear the click of the harpoon gun. He opens his mouth and screams, "Fuck you, Rudy's brood!" And then the harpoon hits him in his chest, just above the disemboweled chest cavity. His eyes roll back into their sockets, and his one-armed body falls backwards limp, his flesh stony, hard in torpor. Barry, you've got the sheriff pinned down, disarmed. He's putting up a valiant fight, but he's not as strong as you. He's a Toreador. He's fast, and he's smart, but you've got him dead to rights. Urgh! He groans at you through gritted teeth. "If you kill me, if you stake me, the prince will declare a blood hunt. No! Anarchs will survive. One by one, the cam will tear you down until only the Baron is left. And you'll be left for the very last."
I still have the ritual dagger, right?
You do, still holding it in your hands.
So if I'm on top of him, I'm gonna put the ritual knife to his throat.
He gulps, feeling the cold metal of the blade. He doesn't say anything. He makes one more token squirm, and then when you press it down further, he realizes you mean business. "Don't," he says through gritted teeth. "Don't! If you let me go, the cam will owe you a boon. Anything you want."
Hey. I'm just asking a question. Since you seem to know everything, what's my name?
Looks up at you. Barry Marwood.
Press it in a little bit further. What is my fucking name?
He grits his teeth. Your sire. You want your sire, right? I know who they are. I can
What?
help you.
It's my fucking name!
He whimpers. Detective. Ex-detective. Barry Marwood.
I slit his throat.
Hey, Brett,
He
how you
gasps
going?
as blood begins to pour, spraying like a rivulet. What is your hunger currently at, Barry?
My hunger is currently at 0, somehow.
Somehow. You hear the beasts squirm.
How are you today?
Oh, wouldn't it be the ultimate humiliation to take his blood, take his life force? But do you? Your hunger 0. It'd be very easy for you to push away and tell yourself
Go
this
eat.
one's not worth it.
If you're hungry, go eat.
We have options. If he lives, Mysterious says simply. But it's your call either way, Barry.
What are you making?
Those options are best discussed after he's beaten to a pulp, though, she says, wandering over.
Barry smiles at that. And pistol whips him.
Kathunk.
Mysteria kicks him in the shins kicks him in the ribs to help out until he stops moving.
Gasps once, twice, and then the fountain of red spewing from his cut throat stops. He gurgles. His eyes roll back into their sockets, and he fades into torpor. And then all is silent.
Barry's just
Oh
catching
my.
his breath like a beast.
Oh, what a night. Desiree, dear. Good job.
She looks
drove him
over at
away.
you. She looks over at you, Wisteria, and the look on her face tells you that she's just as surprised
Oh,
as you are
nice.
that she managed to pull through. She peers down at the remnants of her failed ritual, and she stammers and she says, I.
It's all right. You can try again on your own time. That'll be one minor boon for a help. We'll be taking the sheriff. You will not speak of the sheriff or any of this to anyone until the Baron has given you marching orders on what is to be done here. Understood?
She nods. She gazes
Excellent.
down at the unconscious forms arrayed around the circle.
We'll be taking the mortals back now, as you have no need for them tonight.
She nods. Thank you.
Does it? Oh, you're welcome. Does anyone else have anything to do here, or shall we go celebrate our well-gotten gains?
I have no need for being here now.
Yes.
Gil like rolls his shoulder where it's burnt to a crisp.
Incidentally, here. Go on,
I
sorry.
think I'm done for the night.
Yes. Incidentally, I've got more information on Mr. O that I was waiting to see what she'd add to, so between this and that, I'm thinking we
getting
should be able
there.
to arrange something fun.
I hope you're doing well,
Desiree.
Brett.
It's been darling. Good luck, and maybe brush up on your ritual work before we try this again. If we do, our rates will be higher next time. Ta! And she heads back toward the car.
She stares out towards the lake, and then she says in a monotone,
We'll be finishing up in a moment.
taken under advisement. Her fang pierces her bottom lip, and blood begins to roll.
I've already chosen who to
And
read
with
out
that,
to.
we end tonight's session.
Actually, before we do, could I...
Before we do, yep, go ahead.
Yeah, unfortunately.
As Barry's about to get into his car, he's gonna try and look for Alexander.
Gonna try
Yeah.
to look for Alexander. Are you going to use a discipline for that, or are you going to
Well,
just
it's not
look
a
and
sneeze.
see if he stands out?
Oh, I'll have my heightened senses on.
Go ahead, wits, awareness, or investigation, please.
Lovely.
It's okay.
Five successes.
5
Caught a
successes.
bug, and now I'm sick. So
You wait,
yeah.
letting the others head through the tree line down the trail, the unconscious
rolled in that
vessels
one.
slung over their shoulders, trails of blood left dripping behind, and you stop. You peer beyond Desiree, beyond the inky black water, into the darkness, and you can't see him. You get the feeling, Barry, that you can never see him unless he wants you to see him. But something stares back from that tree line. Something watches. Something that has silently observed the events of tonight and is calculating what to do next.
I was planning on keeping on streaming, but I don't think I can now.
Making sure he knows that I know.
And with that, we end tonight's session. That will be 3 experience points for each of you. You recover willpower equal to your composure or resolve, whichever is highest. And in addition, you may each decrease your hunger by 1.
No promises on that one.
The vessels have already been spent. Much of their blood was spilled during the ritual. You managed to convince Desiree not to take any more, but if you don't want to kill them, you'll have to make do with a single point of hunger each. And then, all 4 will awaken a night from now. Their bodies aching, their minds blank. They had a rough night at the Black Shame, but that's to be expected of a place like that. And as for the guy at Prospector Peak, the things he's seen, who would ever believe him if he were to say anything?
Oh,
Next, go ahead.
SQL guy is getting a bit of mysterious blood down his throat.
Oh, you're gonna ghoul him.
Yep, he was nice enough, and she needs a computer guy.
And so Clark awakens the next night.
Maybe.
The memory front and center. The girl at the Black Shame
You might end up
who
with that.
came to him for help. A kindred spirit who reached out. A kindred. Kindred he will never forget.
And a number tucked in his pocket. Call me.
Next session, we will continue with the next story, Ascension Night. However, that'll take place on the very next night after this one. So there won't be any time for downtime.
No.
And I'd like you to leave your hunger and health scores as they are. Of course, you'll be able to rouse the blood to heal any damage you have when you awaken on the next night. We'll make a move on Mr. O. Strike while the iron is hot, now that you know where to find him, and we have a sheriff and his hound to question.
Yes, that's actually getting... Here's a question. She asks Barry and the others. We definitely need to let the Baron know we've got him, because doing anything permanent to him or holding him for any amount of time is going to be bad for the Anarchs. We can't afford a hot war yet. Do we want to question him, or do we want to go directly to the Baron? What's the goal?
I'd say question him first and then chuck him to the Baron.
Alright.
I agree.
I'm with that.
Our interest is only in Savoy.
Understood. Well, Savoy is yours.
Hmm.
I can't imagine anyone will miss him too much.
And so the 2 vampires, secure, staked, tied up, are piled into the back of the rented SUV. And at least until they are questioned, none shall hear of them. You retreat to your havens, just in time for the sun to rise. Retreat and scurry for the safety of the darkness, relishing the night to come. The fight, the hunt, the interrogation. What the Baron doesn't know won't hurt him. And it only takes a single night to get what you need. Thanks for playing, everyone.
Thank you.
That
Thank
was
you,
glorious.
Dale.
That was.
good.
Oh
Thanks,
my
Dan.
god. So many things could have gone wrong there. Ooh.
If Wisteria did not do all that stuff obfuscated before it broke out, you would have had a lot of trouble.
Eh,
Yeah.
it didn't work all the way, but no, everybody came through.
The
Ooh.
mage cut his losses and ran for it. And you
Best
have
outcome we could have
two
hoped for.
prime Camarilla vampires to
Yeah.
interrogate. It'll
Don't
be up
we
to
all,
you
though?
whether you want to go for Mr. O
Run to the
or
darkness.
interrogate them first. Either way, you've got one night ahead of you. One night to put all your affairs in order. And the Baron doesn't yet know.
Incidentally, could I get a point of willpower for fulfilling my desire of burgling, heists, and object relocation because I stole a sheriff?
Go ahead and take one.
Thank you.
I'm
We
going
did,
to
but, you
end
know.
stream here,
Yeah.
so
Go ahead. Thank you,
All right.
Dream people, for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Join us next time when
Yeah.
the hunters become the hunted.
bye, guys. Yeah, thank you guys for joining. I fucked my voice halfway through, but oh well. We're going to go and raid Maya. She is currently streaming, and she raided us last time, so why wouldn't I raid her now? It'll come back, don't worry. I don't even know how bad it sounds right now, but I'm imagining that it's bad. Yeah. Thank you, Brett, as usual. We'll see you guys next time. And if you guys want, feel free to join in the Discord. I'm hoping to bring back the movie night again. Not this weekend, but next one, maybe. Yes, I'll drink water. I'll go get a tea as well. Have a good night/day, guys. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.